Less than 40,000 will watch the action with the Washington Redskins visiting here in St. Louis. And I suppose most people thought that at this stage of the season, the standings would look like this, with the Giants and the Redskins tied 10-2. The Giants don't play until tomorrow night, and the Dallas Cowboys are still somewhat in the picture in the Eastern Division of the NFC. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jack Buck, and with me is, well, you know, Joe Theismann. Joe, everybody agrees that Washington should win this football game, but that's what Kansas City thought when they came here a week ago, and they got knocked off.
They really did. You know, you come in here to St. Louis, and you think it's a football team you should be able to handle. You look at the records, you look at the standings, and you feel confident about it. But this is the kind of game that concerns Joe Gibbs more than anything, a game that they should win before a very big football game.
Right, he's a little paranoid about it, Joe. You're talking to a lot of old friends in our audience today, and I bet you wish you could be out there.
I wish I could be out there, you know, and I really would like to be down on the field. And, you know, they really miss me, Jack.
They really miss you?
Yeah, they're only 10-2. A 10-2 football team. The Washington Redskins are playing as good a football right now as they've played in the entire years that Joe Gibbs has been there. More talent than they've had. Have they come together as a ball club yet? Today is another step to find out. Now, this football team is going to have to get ready for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the key in this game is how much pressure the front four is going to be able to put on Neil Lomax early.
We shall learn early, because the Cardinals will receive. The temperature is a damp 38 degrees. It's rather windy, and it may hurt some of the receivers on punts, and it's not going to get much better this afternoon. Steve Cox will kick it off, and the Cardinals special teams have been quite good. Vi Sikahema is deep along with Eric Swanson, and these two have been able to make things happen at the start of the game. Let's see if Cox puts it into the end zone. No, it's going to be Sikahema from the 9. 20. Good start for the Cardinals, and the tackle by Todd Bowles of the Redskins. Lomax goes in to lead his troops. There you see his figures, about 54% completion. Doesn't throw many interceptions. Lost his job for a while. Here's the defense. The four-man front. Charles Mann, Dave Butts, Darrell Grant, Dexter Manley, and they are hot. The linebackers are Daniels, Olkowitz, and Malott. And the deep men, the rookie Tim Morrison on the left corner. Darrell Green not starting. Wilburn, Walton, another rookie at the safety spot, along with Curtis Jordan from the 30-yard line. Stump Mitchell was a doubtful starter, but he is in there with Earl Farrell. Green in motion. A run and a stop. Oh, Mitchell was really stuffed. And it looked like Darrell Grant was the first one in there, along with Dexter Manley cracking down, and a loss of 2. Here's the remainder of the Cardinal offense. Lomax with Mitchell and Farrell. Wide receivers are Roy Green and J.T. Smith. And up front, a couple of rookies. Louis Sharp against Dexter Manley. The rookies, Ray Brown and Gene Chilton. Then Joe Bostic, brother of Jeff. Tootie Robbins at the right tackle, and Doug Marsh, the tight end, 2nd and 12.
And on that last play, Darrell Grant was lined up over Ray Brown.
Bounced, and it's incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and 12 as they try to get it out to J.T. Smith. Lomax was benched for 2.5 games. He was benched at halftime of a game, then didn't start for 2 weeks. Came on last week, helped defeat Kansas City. There's Gene Stallings, the head coach, and the offensive coordinator Jim Schaffner alongside with a headset.
St. Louis's offense is predicated around getting rid of the ball quick. They have a lot of respect for the front four of the Redskins. They feel like if they can protect Lomax and get him in a groove early, it'll help the ball club out a lot.
Todd Bowles is into the lineup, along with Darrell Green. Troy Johnson, the 3rd wide receiver for St. Louis. Look out. Linebacker came blasting through, and that was Monty Coleman, who's back to work, and it's 4th and long and time to kick.
Monty takes about 4 weeks off during a season because of a shoulder injury that's been nagging him year after year, and as soon as he comes back, the team doesn't play well. Monty comes back, and he's Mr. Big Play. Play after play, week after week. He's in there now playing full time and getting a real feel for what's going on. They're probably one of the fastest guys on the football team besides Darrell Green.
Greg Cater is the punter. Rick DiBernardo will snap the ball. Ken Jenkins is inside his 45, and Washington should be in good shape. I imagine they'll stay away from the kicker. Just let him thump it out of there. That's true. Concentrate on the return. Very fine kick. Coverage not so hot. From the 35. And Jenkins was lucky with the bounce. But the Redskins go from their 36-yard line, and a 46-yard punt put them there. A 2-yard return. Jay Schrader is the quarterback for Washington.
Washington first and 10.
Here's the defense of the Cardinals. They play a 3-man front with Bob Clasby, David Galloway, who's their best, and Al Baker at the right end. Freddie Joe Nunn, E.J. Jr., Nico Noga, and Charlie Baker, the linebackers. And Carl Carter, the rookie, on the left corner with Cedric Mack, Leonard Smith, and Lonnie Young. We have an injured player that they're dealing with at the moment. And that's Ken Jenkins, who caught the punt, dropped it, and got it up to the 37.
Got nailed.
13-19 left in the first quarter, and plenty of time for Schrader to think it over. With Clint Didier out is Jay Schrader, Keith Griffin, Gary Clark, Art Monk, Don Warren, Anthony Jones. The third wide receiver will be Ricky Sanders. The offensive line is Jacoby, Raleigh McKenzie in place of Russ Grimm, Jeff Bostic, R.C. Thielman, and Mark May, who says that Joe Theismann owes him some money.
Well, yeah, Mark was my partner when we used to travel for 6 years, and yeah, I still do, as a matter of fact.
Well, I'll tell you.
I will.
From the 37, first down Washington. Monk to the left, Clark to the right, Sanders to the left. Warren is the up back, the fullback. And a pass on first down. Whoa, well thrown at midfield. And Gary Clark coughed it up at the end, and it's incomplete. A little bit high, and it strung him out.
Well, you know, the Redskins used to be a pound 'em type of offense. You'd like to see what they used to do is, when I was there, they used to come out and throw 5-6 yard passes just to act like a small running play. Now they come out, they use the I formation, which has really helped them disguise their offense more, run a little play action and get the ball deeper down the field. Jay likes to put it down the field, so Joe's accommodating.
Second down and 10, and now Clark is to the left. Nico Noga made that last hit. Kelvin Bryant, who's in there, no gain. It'll be 3rd and 10.
This is the thing you get. You've got George Rogers, who's really a power pound-em type of a back. With Kelvin Bryant and with Keith Griffin, you've got two smaller backs who Joe Gibbs will alternate. So because he feels like neither one of them can take the pounding that George can. Kelvin Bryant is probably the best multiple back, I think, in the National Football League today. He catches exceptionally well, and he runs extremely well. He's one of their big play men.
One of the best is right, along with fellows like Roger Craig and some of the others. 3rd down. Schrader with good movement has it batted down. Now the Redskins will have to punt. Like David Galloway, number 65, got his hands up and batted it down, and the pressure was put on by Bob Clasby, number 79.
David Galloway recovered 2 fumbles last week. One that was ruled not a touchdown because you cannot advance a lateral. Has come on and played very, very well. The Cardinals are starting to get a lot of people back healthy on defense, and they feel like that part of their football team is starting to come along, as well as having Roy Green back on offense.
Steve Cox, with his 43-yard average, will kick it to Vi Sikahema. And Sikahema has returned for more than 10 yards per kick. 12.5 left in the first quarter. No score. No pressure. Pretty good kick. Will be returned by Sikahema from the 12 to the 20. Made his move. You don't usually get that many yards against the Redskins. A tackle by Monty Coleman at the 31.
Well, you know, Vi Sikahema has done an excellent job for the Cardinals, but the one thing that Joe Gibbs was talking about is historically the St. Louis Cardinals, of which Wayne Sevier, who coaches the Redskins now, was a Cardinal coach, have played very, very well, and they've always played them well here. Back a long time ago, I can recall a punt going back for a touchdown by the Cardinals.
Sikahema, by the way, is from Tonga. So he feels the cold here today. And there's Lomax. He felt the pressure on the first series of downs. Now the Cardinals start from their 31. Mitchell can do little, and the Cardinals appear to be determined to start a running game. They gained only a yard, and the Redskins on the other side of the line are very difficult to run against.
They are very difficult to run against, but the Cardinals want to come out and keep the pressure off of Neil Lomax. Now, Lomax didn't play for a couple of weeks. Really, more than psychologically helping him, it helped him physically get his toe and his ankle, which are two of the ugliest things you've ever seen in your life, get healed and have him come back and play a little bit better football, just from a physical standpoint. By running the ball, they're going to keep the pressure off him a little bit.
2nd and 9. Smith to the right, Green to the left. Marsh is to the left side. Pass play caught by J.T. Smith. First down. With Barry Wilburn on top of him, getting the help that he needed from Curtis Jordan, and that's the first down of the day. He's having a great year. People overlook the fact that, you know, he's been around for a while. He played with Kansas City for a long time, but look where he ranks, Joe.
He was a Redskin for 8 games as well. Now he ranks 3rd in receiving. You see behind Clark and Rice. Of course, Art Monk is 4th. Washington having 2 great receivers, but J.T. Smith has been the man that makes it happen and has been there week in and week out for the Cardinals.
We've played 4 minutes. Ball at the St. Louis 45. And he threw it away. There was coverage on the tight end by Calvin Daniels, the linebacker, and that's where Lomax wanted to go.
That's right, and there was pressure from Dave Butts, who's having what he considers, as well as a lot of the coaches, his finest year in the 14 years he's played.
You know, he's never been hurt, and the only things I can think of that would bother him would be an erupting volcano from within.
Possibly that, or earthquake.
Or erosion.
Right, something that he has been a stalwart in that Redskin defense year in and year out. They've moved a lot of people around him, but he anchors the middle for him.
Troy Johnson, the extra wide receiver. Todd Bowles in defensively, and a poor pass and a flag. Covering on the play was Barry Wilburn on Troy Johnson. And a flag came down for some reason, and it's against the defense for illegal use of the hands after the 5-yard area.
Well, you know what's going to happen today, too, is the weather.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 45, 5 yards, first down.
It's an automatic first down.
Right coming at you, you're going to see right down the lower left of your screen the hand contact. Now, you're only allowed to make contact with the receiver 5 yards downfield, and you see Wilburn had his right arm on it. Now, you see him slipping a little bit. This carpet gets real slick. When it rains, it's fine. When it's dry, it's fine. But when it's misty like this, it gets a film on it. Makes it hard to keep your footing.
First at midfield. Pretty good protection. Gain of about 5 yards on that quick toss. A 5-yard pickup to the fullback, Earl Farrell. How was that pass protection? As good as I thought it was, Joe?
It was. There you see in your screen, there's Dave Butts, Charles Mann outside, Dexter Manley at the top of the screen. You see Sharp, Brown, Chilton, Bostic, and Tootie Robbins keeping that Redskin front 4 up. That's going to be a key this afternoon, to give Lomax a time to sit in that pocket, and if he can't go deep, to come off to the underneath people. You know, Farrell's caught 44 passes so far this year, so he's a big part of their passing game.
Minnesota jumps ahead of Tampa Bay. Minnesota's still in the picture. We played 4 minutes. Now we played 5 minutes. Here comes Mitchell. Another flag is down, and so is the ball carrier. 2 different flags came down. Curtis Jordan came up and made the tackle and knocked the helmet right off of Stump Mitchell. Mitchell's playing with a bad toe. There's Dick Hantak. I hate to tell you people in Washington this, but the referee lives in St. Louis. Mitchell, by the way, has some bad ribs along with a bad toe. And a holding call against St. Louis.
Holding. Offense, number 80. Repeat the down. Second down.
There was a call against Doug Marsh, the tight end.
Besides the great individual effort and talent that the Redskins have on their defense, what they've caused offenses to do is to create penalties against them and come up with 2nd down and 15, 1st down and 20 situation, which plays right into the Redskins' defensive hands.
Cardinals 45.
It is 2nd down and 16 now. The Cardinals are back where they started at their own 45. Troy Johnson, the 3rd wide receiver. Todd Bowles is in there for Washington. Another first down. I'll tell you this about Lomax. You can't take anything away from him on that throw to J.T. Smith. Wilburn covering along with Monty Coleman.
The Redskins went to a 3-man defensive line with 4 linebackers. Now they bring the linebackers to put pressure on Lomax, and it singles everybody up one-on-one. J.T. Smith on Barry Wilburn just runs a simple crossing pattern and runs away from him. The key to that route was not the pattern itself or the throw, but the time that Lomax had to throw the football.
21 yards to the Redskins 34. No score, first quarter. Fumble, and Lomax got it. He and the rookie center, Gene Chilton, a rookie out of Texas, the number 3 draft pick of the Cardinals, number 58, missed connections and a loss of a couple of yards.
As a quarterback, that's the one thing that you don't want to do. You have to get the snap to start the play. You've given away a yard, and you've lost a very critical down in what we consider scoring territory, getting towards the red area, which coaches refer to from the 20-yard line in.
Ken Coffey joins Todd Bowles as the extra back, and it's 2nd and 12.
399! 399!
Well, that one didn't look right. I don't know who did what. The pass is incomplete. Looked like the Cardinal line moved.
That's Louis Sharp trying to get set on a pass block for Dexter Manley, and Dexter is so quick out of the blocks that he causes those left tackles to just jump too quick. There's the illegal movement.
Against St. Louis. Now that was 2nd down. The clock is stopped with precisely 8 minutes left in the first quarter. It may have been Louis Sharp who moved too quickly. Everybody seemed out of kilter. The snap count was kind of irregular by Lomax.
I think they're trying to do that to draw Manley off sides.
We had a false start on the offense. Number 67. Still 2nd down, 5-yard penalty.
Left of your screen, you'll see Dexter Manley start to hitch a little, and then Louis Sharp. See, Dexter starts to go. Now the offense comes back. He's trying to get himself around so that he can handle Manley. Interesting decision by Joe Gibbs. They're willing to give St. Louis an additional down and take the penalty, possibly taking him out of field goal range. I don't know if I'd have done it. I think I'd have left it 3rd and 11 and try and get the ball back.
Ron Wolfley is in at the fullback spot as they have the extra wide receivers in for St. Louis, and J.T. Smith lines up in the backfield. 2nd and 17. Down he went. That's the 2nd time he's been sacked here in the early going, and boy, it crumbled in a hurry. Butts was in there along with Manley and Darrell Grant.
Dexter Manley's going to get credit. From the upper part of your screen, you're going to see coming into the picture is Dexter Manley. He just pushes Louis Sharp back, and then as Lomax steps up, he just collapses him.
We're talking about strength. He mentioned the fact that he didn't think the Sharp was that strong up on top.
That's right. He thinks he has good feet, and he can position block him when it comes to pure, they call it bull rushing, just trying to run over the guy. Dexter feels he has an advantage.
He just broke his own record. He has 15.5 sacks, and it's 3rd and 23. Short of a first down as it is caught by Troy Johnson, but it does put St. Louis in long field goal range after a 19-yard pass.
When you talk to the St. Louis coaches, they feel that Troy Johnson is the true fast wide receiver that they feel every team needs. He's a legitimate 4-3. Now, for anybody who doesn't understand the terminology, that means he's really fast. It's plain and simple. And he's a guy that Gene Stallings feels like this football team needs to try and get the football to make big plays.
There's Gene Stallings, who has his field goal unit out there with Kent Austin holding at the 36. It's a 46-yard try by Eric Schubert. You remember him from the Giants. Bernardo held it. Pretty good thump. St. Louis jumps out in front. With 6:28 left in the first quarter, some pretty good passing on critical downs by Lomax and the field goal by Schubert. Buddy Ryan said, we'll find out who's tough. It's the Eagles at the Raiders. Philadelphia's been out there all week long after playing Seattle. You'll see that game next on CBS. Schubert, who kicked the 46-yard field goal, will kick it off. The deep men are Ken Jenkins, closest to you, and Clarence Verdun, number 89 at the top.
Number 31, Ken Jenkins.
This is the 5th kicker in 2 years for St. Louis. hot today. It's into the end zone, and Burdan runs it back out. And a flag goes down, and another flag. It's shy of the 20. And the Cardinal fans are turned on a bit. Rick DiBernardo was downfield to make the tackle. You remember Schubert? He had some glory days with the Giants, and then he lost his job, and Haji Sheik came back, and then he left. The penalties against the Redskins.
You know, I think on kickoffs, what they should do is just let the team run it out as far as they can, and then just penalize them 10 yards and save the laundry bill. Because I can think of very few kickoffs where a flag does not go up in the air. I mean, now with the rule, you can't block below the waist, you can't push him in the back, you can't touch the guy running down the field. You may as well just penalize him.
Put it at the 13 of Washington. They could put a flag on the ball.
Illegal block in the back on the return by number 87. We have a face mask on St. Louis, number 54. Penalties offset.
They say offsetting penalties, but they brought the ball back to the 13-yard line.
What you heard was E.J. Jr. yelling, "How can you say 54? I'm not even on the kickoff team."
So E.J. Jr. is pleading his case to the appellate court up back upfield.
Now they're going to look at the Cardinals and find a 4. And they try and figure. I mean, that's exactly. Sometimes the officials, things move so fast they can't quite tell. And EJ's out there to play defense. He's not on the kickoff team. He's just back off of being injured. Look at the smile. He knows too.
Meanwhile, up front, it's going to be Jacoby, McKenzie, Bostic, Thielman, and May.
We have offsetting penalties. We have a face mask on the kicking team. Illegal block on the receiving team. Penalties offset. First down.
Okay, from the 13.
That might stop them from calling people out, just their names.
Somebody.
Now you'll just identify the receiving team, the kicking team, and now, you know, they won't isolate it on the victim anymore.
Bears are out in front. San Diego's out in front. And the Cardinals are out in front. 3-0 here. Griffin. Talk about gang tackling, a gain of about 2. Griffin just isn't a Rodgers or a Bryant. He's a different sort of back. He's like Little Joe that you used to have.
He's like
over
Little
there.
Joe Washington. He's the kind of guy who does a great job of coming in. He's only averaged 2.9 yards. And the reason why he's only carried the ball 17 times is because George Rodgers has been basically healthy. And Kelvin Bryant comes in on 3rd down. So Keith is used as a relief man in this situation.
Thurman is the extra defensive back for St. Louis. 2nd and 8. Griffin tries it again and moved out to the 20. 5-yard pickup that time.
The first time they ran over R.C. Thielman and Mark May. Now they come back to the left side of the line, where the Redskins really are a more comfortable team running to the left behind Joe Jacoby and Russ Grimm, who's not in there today, but Raleigh McKenzie, who's filled in for him. And in talking to Joe Bugle earlier, he said McKenzie could well be the best pure pass blocker on that whole offensive line.
Ricky Sanders is in the lineup along with Kelvin Bryant. 3rd and 2. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. It's caught by Don Warren for a first down at the 25. That's only the 12th pass of the year that he's caught. Along the sideline, they send in the signals to Jay Schrader, and Mr. Theismann is conversant with those signals.
I've known him a little bit. I won't tell you what it is, but
do you know?
I know what this one's going to be. And it's the Redskins are a football team that tries to control the ball. On that play, what's going to happen here is Art Monk's going to go in motion to the right, and we're going to try and throw the ball short to Gary Clark or Art Monk.
What do you mean we?
Well, the Redskins. By
There it is to Clark, and a first down across the 35. Joe, do you know them all?
I got lucky, I guess.
I guess you do know them all, huh?
Well, yeah. You know, you don't forget it after 12 years.
11-yard pickup. Now, we don't want to do anything that's going to compromise the position of Joe Gibbs and his football team with Joe Theismann's knowledge here, but he does know the signals. He does know the plays that are coming, and that will help you fans as Joe imparts the information to you from time to time here today.
I think what the fans are seeing is the same type of Redskin football they've seen all year. Controlled passing game with a big shot now and then.
From the 37, Bryant is in there. Another first down. Out near midfield as Gary Clark caught another.
That was the same pass play they tried to open the game with. They threw it to the left side this time. It's just a play action fake to Keith Griffin in the backfield to hold the linebackers. Let Gary Clark run his turn pattern on Carl Carter, who's a rookie, played very well, but still doesn't have the experience, and he makes the catch.
12 yards for convenience. They mark it at the 50-yard line. Tackled by Cedric Mack, who's playing the right corner. And they'll be picking on him. First down. Good stiff defense after a few yards, and Nico Noga, number 57, was the first to hit the ball carrier Bryant. A 4-yard gain. That Noga is something. He is from
Tonga,
American Samoa. The other guy's from Tonga. They're neighbors.
Well,
they swim back and forth and visit each other every day.
I haven't been that way lately, so I couldn't tell you exactly where that is. All I know is he goes to movies like The Dirty Dozen, and
he's a mean son of a
he
gun.
likes to get himself fired up the night before a ball game by watching exciting movies, I guess you could say.
Second down and 6. 2 tight ends, including Anthony Jones. Motion by Monk, reading the defense. First down, and Bryant running away from tacklers. First and goal. He ran away from a would-be tackler back upfield, and Lonnie Young had to stop him. Cardinals been hurt by that particular pattern all year. 40 yards.
Well, they get hurt. Here you isolate Kelvin Bryant on a linebacker. In this case, it's E.J. Jr.
And he misses the tackle.
Well, he does. He gets overrun, and now Kelvin gets in the middle. Jay does an excellent job of setting in the pocket and throwing off his back foot. Now, you can call it the wrong foot, but with the strength of his arm, he doesn't have a wrong foot to throw off of. And there they force him to try and catch him going down the field.
First and goal at the 6. More than half of that distance. And he ran into Charlie Baker and E.J. Jr. Boy, that wasn't like Jr. a while ago to miss a tackle of that sort. The stiff arm stopped him.
Well, it really wasn't. As he set back into coverage, he has Kelvin Bryant. He just leaks through the line of scrimmage. You've got the receivers, which, of course, Monk and Clark are going to get a lot of respect, pushing the secondary and stretching the defense. You dump it off to a back underneath with Bryant's ability. He makes one man miss, and you saw the gain that he gets. 45
seconds left in the first quarter. Griffin is in. Bryant is out. It's second and goal at the 2. By Warren. That's the sort of call where they missed Clint Didier, who has that broken hand.
Well, not only that, but they really missed that man right there, George Rogers. In that situation, Joe Gibbs would probably try and pound it in on second down, even on third down. Now, talking to him last night, when I played quarterback for the Washington Redskins and had the presence of one John Riggins in the backfield, I think we threw one play-action pass in that situation in 6 years I was there. And he said to me last night, I might throw one up there for you just so you could talk about it today. And he did. Now I think he's going to try and pound it in.
Rodgers has a bad shoulder. It's third and goal. Bryant's back in. How did he get so loose? Gary Clark with a touchdown. That is his 6th of the year, and the Redskins on top, and he was wide open.
What happened is the St. Louis Cardinals chose to play a zone defense from the 3-yard line. Now, it's very unusual in the National Football League. You get down close, everybody wants to play man-to-man. The Cardinals rushed 4, dropped 7 back in coverage, and Clark just found the seam. Jay did a fine job, of course, not having a lot of pressure on him. Hit him for the touchdown.
Zendejas, who is 11 out of 15, will try the extra point. makes it good, and it is 7-3 in favor of Washington. They were favored by more than a touchdown here today. 26 seconds left in the quarter.
There's Nika Noga, E.J. Jr., and Lonnie Young. Now, what the Cardinals chose to do is drop everybody back into coverage as opposed to trying to put pressure on the quarterback. What's going to happen is Gary Clark's going to come right out of here and get the touchdown. There you see him go into their coverage. Now Clark will appear right in the seam for 6 points.
Easy, easy.
Against zones, it's not hard to find those little holes.
There's Gary, 6 TDs this year. And Schrader, the quarterback, said he has a way of coming right across your field of vision. Here's the kick by Cox, and it heads for Sikahema. Took it on the 3. Look at that blocking. His own man got in the way, but he broke loose up beyond the 35-yard line. And the tackle by Tim Morrison. Well, next Saturday on CBS television, some good collegiate action. The Army-Navy game in Philadelphia, of course. The 87th annual, and it's always a very good game with a lot of spirit. And right after that, on CBS, the Theismann Trophy Award from the New York Athletic Club at 5:30 Eastern Time, and I wonder who.
You're going to go out on a limb and pick one?
No. Everybody knows.
Everybody
right?
knows.
How'd you finish, Joe? Very high, didn't you, one year?
I was very fortunate to finish second. I guess you could call that being fortunate.
Whom?
To Mr. Jim Plunkett.
And he's still playing. Joe Krakowski of the Redskins was injured on that play and goes off the field. His father, he played for the Redskins at one time. That was a 35-yard return to the 38-yard line. Schrader, by the way, and when he's out there, is hot. He's 5 out of 6. Here's Lomax going to work. Sikahema lines up in the tailback spot and goes in motion. They like to throw to him. Lomax is taken down for the 3rd time by Darryl Grant. What a nice visit we had with Grant, who is the quiet leader, apparently, and overlooked by a lot of people. Tell us about that meeting he called with the defense, Joe.
Well, he and Charles Mann are very close, and the defense really missed his leadership. What you mean by leadership is just what you saw on the football field, the example of going out and getting the job done. He's matched up against Ray Brown, who's a rookie, who's going to get an education this afternoon. And he just said, look, we're not playing well. It's time we got together and did our job as a defensive unit.
That marks the end of the first quarter. Cardinals scored first on the field goal by Schubert, and then the 2-yard pass play to Clark. 7-3 Washington. We start the second quarter. 7-3 Redskins. Darryl Grant just picked up his 2nd sack of the year.
We were talking earlier about the Redskins about 3 weeks ago had a defensive team meeting. Every now and then we'd call them as football players with no coaches there, so everybody could air their feelings and say exactly what they want to say. Now, it's basically a very young defense in key situations, and in key positions, I mean.
And Grant talked mostly about the lack of enthusiasm or intensity on the part of the defensive unit.
And he felt like not being out on the field hurt his football team a little bit. So now he's glad to be back.
3 wide receivers, 2nd and 16 from the Cardinal 31. 4-man rush, and the running play to Ferry. Good kick out block, and he's out across the 40-yard line. Louis Sharp had a key block on that run of 11 yards.
Well, sometimes when you get a big pass rusher right in the middle of your screen, you see Dexter Manley. That's with his tail up in the air. That's a sprinter stance. You see him come up in the field now. Louis Sharp just drives him right into the pile. Bowles comes up to try and force the play. Morrison tries to force it back in where the linebackers are. But the offensive line of the Cardinals did an excellent job of picking up the pass rush that time.
3rd down and 6. Wolfley and Sikahema blocking in the backfield. The flag is down. 1st down run. But it's going to be holding against St. Louis, you can almost bet.
It's also going to be against number 67 on that man, Dexter Manley.
Who is refereeing now.
Louis Sharp tried to take Dexter inside, got his right hand hooked around him, and got 3 points for a takedown, and he's going to get 10 yards for holding. And he knows it.
Holding. Offense. Number 67, 10-yard penalty.
Sometimes it's
Repeat
all
the
you can
down.
do.
Third down.
So it's going to be third down.
In the right of your screen, Dexter Manley tries to take the inside. Now Sharp gets his right hand up, and you'll see it's just purely a takedown. If he pins him, he gets what, 5? The takedown gets him 3. In any case, he winds up losing 10 yards.
Third down and 16 coming up. Joe Krakowski of the Redskins has a sprained knee and will not return. So there, Manley ready to tee off again against Sharp or whoever. He lined up inside. Now he comes back outside.
Cardinals have 4 wide receivers in the game,
including Don Holmes. What a catch for a first down by Troy Johnson. If there's a tough catch to make in the game, it's the one behind you. That was 22 yards.
Again, they isolate on Barry Wilburn. You won't be able to see it in this picture, but you'll see him come in the lower left-hand part of your screen. You'll see Troy Johnson come in. There's the ball up. Now watch him turn back and make this play.
That is very difficult.
Hard to hold on to the ball as it's away from you while you're getting hit. That time he controlled it and made the catch for the first down.
On third down.
And this time you see Manley trying to bull rush again over Sharp. This time Louis won it.
First down at the Redskin 45. And Farrell gets only a couple.
Farrell, the ball carrier. Tackled by Olkowitz.
Dexter Manley talked before the game about playing against Louis Sharp.
Well, I think in my division, he's probably the best in that division. And Louis Sharp is one of the, he's not very strong up top to me is what I perceive. And I think the guy has definitely great feet. And because I can tell you, if you beat him on a good move, the next thing you know, he's be right there. So the thing about it is have to keep coming every down. When you do that, eventually something will break.
Something is already broken here a couple of times today. 2nd and 8. Coffey's in the lineup. Bowles is in there for Washington. Big takeoff by Manley, and there he is. That's the 4th sack of Lomax today, and Manley just wouldn't be stopped. He came in along with Charles Mann, who broke in from the other side.
Well, you got to give credit again, not only to the pressure of the front 4, but anytime Lomax has got to hold the ball, it's the coverage of the secondary that aids in the sacks. There he is in that sprinter stance again. He starts up the field. Now Lomax is going to get flushed to the right by Charles Mann, and Dexter just keeps on, like he said, if you keep on coming, something's got to give.
So both tackles eventually were whipped on the play, Tootie Robbins and Louis Sharp. And it is third down and 19. 4 wide receivers for St. Louis. Racing in was Charles Mann. We caught you, Charlie.
You could hear Neil Lomax go, hut, hut, hut.
That did it?
Yes, sir. What they want to do is, when you get the defensive ends that are up in sprinter stances.
Encroachment, defense, number 71, third down.
And you realize they're loaded and going to come out of the chutes. What you want to do is break that cadence, give them that hard count, and see if you can draw them offside. Now, instead of third down and 19, you've got third down and 14. Still a tough thing to get, but it's a lot better than trying to pick up 19 yards.
12 minutes left in the half. 7-3 Washington. 3rd and 14. And there's a whistle. Flags down all over. Louis Sharp might have been the first to move, and that'll cost him.
You know, Dexter ought to get a striped shirt. I mean, with a 7200.
He's just trying to hip.
False start, offense, number 67, third down.
Well, there's no doubt that Manley really changes a game around.
He does, and he changes it for the left tackle. Now, Sharp's got to get out of there. You also see Ray Brown jump up because he's got Darrell Grant. Both of them have at least 1 sack this afternoon. Dexter with 2, Grant with 1. They've got to get back to try and protect.
4 penalties against St. Louis, 2 against the Redskins, 3rd and 19. Monty Coleman swatted that one away, and it's 4th down, and the Cardinals will have to punt the ball for the 2nd time today.
Monty Coleman comes in on third down and long, 2nd down situations, and extremely long. You see him right in the middle of your screen. Now he has the fullback Wolfley man to man. but he's blocking, so he's just going to stand there and play cat and mouse with him and swat the ball down for the shorter routes.
Second punt by Cater. Oh, that's a beauty. Fair catch is called for by Jenkins. He knew the coverage was going to be tough, and it was. 11:24 left in the half. 39-yard punt. Washington at their 16. We're at Busch Stadium, where about 39,000 are watching the game on a foggy and misty day. 11:24 left in the half. 7-3 the Redskins lead. And the Redskins have the ball at their own 16. And Joe Theismann just remarked to me about the difference in this club as opposed to when he was playing, when your team was a lot more patient.
Well, he was. I think with the presence of John Riggins, we were a football team that were more inclined to try and run a little bit more on 1st and 10. I would say we were 60-40 run. What I see in this Redskin football team is that they're willing to run the ball, but within 5 plays you can almost look for a big play or a big shot, as they're referred to try and get the ball down the field a large amount.
It is Keith Griffin in the backfield and Warren on a wing. Griffin is taken down from behind by David Galloway. Why don't we have a moment? Let's go to New York and Brent Musburger.
Well, Jack, the Rams have taken an early lead on the Jets. This was the touchdown pass. It's a beauty. 60-yard pass and run. It is Kevin House. That's the longest touchdown pass of Jim Everett's career with the Rams so far. And then they came back down the field, added a field goal, so they lead the Jets 10-0 back to Jets.
Well, there's another force in the league in Jim Everett.
Now you're going to see Art Monk come down to the middle of the formation and go back up top. Get involved in this route.
2nd and 11. And the ball just bounced right off of Ricky Sanders. Thumped right off him. Quite a throw. There's Jay Schrader, and they tell me he could have been a pretty good baseball player. He's a catcher. He played center field, third base. 3.5 years in the Toronto Blue Jays organization, all in the minor leagues. And somebody told me, Joe, that they knew he'd be a good pro football player because anybody, and this is true, who rides those buses in baseball's minor leagues learns what it's like to enjoy being on top.
You're right, and he does. Actually, I think he looks a lot better in the helmet than he did in the hat anyway.
3rd down and 11. Wayne Smith and Dennis Thurman checking defensively for St. Louis. They can't get to Schrader. There's a flag, and there's the pass, and it's incomplete. They'll check the flag. Harry Clark almost made a fantastic catch.
Not only that, Jay has such a strong arm and such a great belief in his ability to throw the football. That was one he might have thought about again, but he wanted to try and squeeze it in.
Motion will be declined, and the Redskins will have to punt. And as you say, Joe, they show a lack of patience with their play calling as opposed to what it used to be.
I think what happens is the lack of George Rogers in the backfield has caused that. They feel more inclined to pound it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 87, offense. Penalty decline. 4th down.
They feel more inclined to try and pound it with the big back. But when you've got Keith Griffin and Kelvin Bryant, who aren't the big kind of backs who can pound inside, you have to go to the other plan. Now, that plan has worked well enough for them to win 10 football games this year, so why stop?
Steve Cox will punt for the 2nd time to by Sikahema. The Cardinals should get it. In good position. 10.5 left in the half. No pressure. Pretty good kick. Coverage is not so hot from the 39. And good coverage at the tail end. It was Alvin Walton getting down there, number 40, to make the tackle. 47-yard kick. Joe Theismann, these Cardinals have moved the ball somewhat, but 4 sacks and 4 penalties have slowed them down.
Well, that's exactly right. I feel like they have a very good game plan. They seem to be executing it well. The receivers are making some big catches, which they haven't made for them. They haven't come up with big plays on offense or defense. What they've got to do is stop beating themselves. They've got to stop making mistakes, stop the sacks, but more importantly, stop the penalties and just play for 10 yards instead of trying to play for 20 every time you line up.
Mitchell's back in there for St. Louis. piece of property here in St. Louis, and he's still not full speed. Otherwise, he might have gained more yards than he did. Nice cutback.
There you see Walton up to the left of your screen, Curtis Jordan in the middle playing defense. Now Stump just stretches the defense out and then cuts back. Curtis Jordan makes a commitment to come upfield to try and cut him off. Now he's the last line of defense because he's the free safety. There's Richie Malott in pursuit, Alvin Walton in pursuit. Curtis Jordan runs him out of bounds.
39-yard pickup to the Redskin 22. Now Sikahema is in there. Farrell found a hole. First and goal. There's another fellow who's overlooked. Earl Farrell. He's as good a fullback as there is in the league.
What sets that play up is, first of all, the good blocking. Right in the middle of your screen, Louis Sharp and Ray Brown. Now, Dexter Manley's way outside. Darrell Grant's outside. They go man-to-man. And with Dexter Manley wanting to take that big pass rush up the field, he creates a lane for Farrell to go up inside and between Brown and Sharp. And it's the kind of thing that pass rushers get into. They try and get up the field so you can run inside of them.
14 yards to the 8. Wolfley is in there at the fullback spot. Mitchell Laterra. Just did get back to the line of scrimmage. Second and goal.
That's one thing you're not going to do to the Washington Redskins is you're not going to be able to beat them around the corner.
Why not?
Because they have great team speed and the secondary plays a lot of man-to-man coverage. When you play man-to-man coverage, you're in a close force position on the line of scrimmage. You can get up the field into the backfield very quickly and stretch the thing out to the sideline if you have to.
Curtis Jordan told us that he feels like a babysitter back there with the young backs. Morrison and Alvin Walton and Barry Wilburn.
He is. He's got to direct them all, especially in crucial areas like down here on the goal line.
He was corralled at the 5 by Monty Coleman. And he was hauled down hard, and Lomax comes up punching. Now, Coleman is a big dude and a real piece of work he's put together, and Lomax is airing his dislike of what, the tackle?
The Redskins now make a decision to go into zone coverage. There you see Curtis Jordan and Olkowitz and Malott go into zone, very similar to what the Cardinals did. Now Lomax, instead of throwing the ball up for an interception, makes a wise decision. Coleman gets him out.
Oh, that's what he was yelling about.
Yeah, I'd come up swinging too.
Because of Walton.
Absolutely.
Who came in, and he missed him with that spearing attempt.
Fortunately for the Redskins, Alvin Walton missed him, or it would have been a 15-yard penalty.
Third and goal from 5. There's Joe Gibbs.
Use your hands for tackling, not your helmet. When a guy's on the ground, anyway.
Roy Green in motion, pass play, and a touchdown. J.T. Smith. We got a scramble, we got a fight outside the 6-yard line. Couple of players got into it after the touchdown. I wonder who it is. Sharp and who?
There's Dexter on the bottom of it.
These fans here think they're at a hockey game. It started with the 2 of those, with Sharp and Dexter.
Well, we know he's in the middle of it. There you see Dexter come off the ball. He gets help now. Tootie Robbins, instead of just trying to block alone, Farrell helps him.
Little extra.
There they are holding on. That's where it started.
It is not passive. Here's the extra point try by Schubert to try to make it 10-7. It's good. 7:25 left in the half. It is obvious that Washington has their hands full.
There's a Redskin defense all up on the line of scrimmage. They're going to try and put pressure on Lomax. Now here he goes to the right where J.T. Smith is isolated on Barry Wilburn. Now Wilburn's not looking for the ball. He's looking at J.T. Smith, who plays the ball and makes the catch. If there's one area I think the Cardinals feel like they can work on, it is the right corner and Barry Wilburn. You have to consider Wilburn's back there, Walton's back there, as well as Tim Morrison. So it's a very young secondary.
Here's the kick to Jenkins at the 10. He bobbled it, fakes a reverse, and did not. Well, he got to the 20-yard line, and Washington goes from there with Rick DiBernardo making the tackle. We hear Joe Theismann and others talk about the passing tree.
The passing tree, when you're communicating as a quarterback, you want to get to your players where they should go on the field. So instead of telling them, you use numbers. For example, if you want them to run an out pattern, you use a 3. An out pattern, a 1. You go here for a 3 pattern. Now, the way a pass pattern would be called, if you wanted to use 3 digits, which would be the tight end and 2 wide receivers, it would be 383.
That's from the left side of the formation as Joe demonstrated it to you. Now from the 20. Baker hit him, and the pass is incomplete. Tell us a little bit more about that tree, Joe. And there's Bubba Baker, who made the tackle.
Some receivers don't run the wrong route. The biggest thing they do is, instead of running a 3 route, now this would be 10 yards, they may go 12, and it would throw off the timing of the route from the quarterback. Now realize that this is the left receiver. If you want the tight end or the man in the middle to run a pattern, that would be a post. If you flop it over, it would be from the other side. And if he's on the right, he would run it this way. So that's where you'd get the 383, and that's what you would call in the huddle if you wanted your 2 wide receivers and the tight end to run the routes.
Dennis Sherman and Wayne Smith are in defensively for the Cardinals. Monk in motion. Flag goes down. Pass thrown behind the receiver, incomplete. 7:02 left in the half. Kelvin Bryant, the intended receiver. The line judge had a motion call, but if they decline it, it'll be 3rd and 10. I want to point out that that Cardinal touchdown, the pass to J.T. Smith, was set up by the run. 39 yards Mitchell, 14 yards Farrell.
Illegal motion, offense, number 81, penalty decline, 3rd down.
3rd and 10. Monk was going toward the line of scrimmage. Minnesota has their hands full in the 2nd quarter. Their record 6-6.
What the Redskins like to do is they like to move Art Monk. It does 2 things. It stops him from being pressed, and it also allows Jay Schrader to tell whether it's man-to-man or zone defenses. If somebody moves with them, it's usually man-to-man, as in this indication. Now they'll try and isolate the tight end.
Warren has a first down. Out to the 35, and Jay Schrader's ability to move and look and wait made the difference and allowed Warren to get free for 15 yards.
Donnie Warren is a guy who really gets overlooked, I think, in the scheme of the Washington Redskins. You have Art Monk, you have Gary Clark, you have Kelvin Bryant, George Rogers, Jay Schrader. Didier, who is the receiving tight end. But the man who's responsible for the running game and the man who blocks and just bloodies his nose all the time is Donnie Warren. He's not featured in the passing game, but he's always there day in and day out, and a very important part of why the Redskins have been successful on offense.
Bryant is in there at the 34-yard line. First down. And a big play on 3rd down for Washington. Quickly outside. And good yards. On the pass play to Art Monk. Carl Carter, the cornerback, a rookie, was first to get there.
The Redskins are settling back into their rhythm. That big play by Jay Schrader to Donnie Warren allows them to get better field position and allows them to get back into their short passing game on 1st and 10 and then get the short yardage and take a big shot. That's, you know, if you get down like this, 2nd down and 1, it's a situation that quarterbacks and coaches love because you can make a call, feel confident you can pick it up on 3rd down, but now you get a shot at a touchdown or a big play.
56 games in a row for Art Monk, 2nd and 1. Jones is the fullback, and Bryant gets the first down. Anthony Jones lined up at the up back. Lonnie Young made the tackle on Kelvin Bryant. They're going to expect to need a lot from him today.
They expect a lot from him, and also he likes to give a lot. There you see his rushing yardage. He's filling in for George Rogers. But Calvin is really their third down back. Very much like, if you remember back a few years ago, the way Joe Washington used to play the role for the Redskins. He's the man they want to get the ball to out of the backfield, let him go one-on-one with somebody and make big plays.
First down at the 49. Circling around from behind and making the tackle was Clasby along with Charlie Baker, the linebacker.
That's that counter tray that the Redskins run. It's called a counter, a lot of other things. Brian will take a false step to the right. It'll allow both tackles to come. Now, what you're finding is the Cardinal defense is closing very quickly and pursuing from the backside and catching that play from the backside. They're trying to get their tackles and guards up the hole. If there's a little bit of a delay there, it allows Clasby and Baker to pursue and make the tackle.
2nd and 9. Monk to the right, Clark to the left. Warren on the right side. Incomplete. Schrader has a lot of RPMs on his throws, doesn't he?
We've watched a lot of games this year, and I've had the opportunity to spend a few years with Jay, and I've never seen anybody throw the ball with such velocity over such a long period of time as this young man does. He's got he is probably on his way to Hawaii in the Pro Bowl, as well as a number of football players on that football team.
And probably on his way to a Washington record with regard to yardage. Jorgensen went over 3,000 3 times, so did Joe. Snead 1 time, and Schrader is going to go way over it this year. 3rd and 9. Thurman and Smith defensively check in for the Cardinals. They can't get to Schrader, and the pass is caught for a first down to Clark. At the 20. Schrader told us that Clark always comes into his vision somehow.
Well, we asked him. I said, it seems to me like you are always looking for Gary Clark. He says, that's not the case. He said, I sit in the pocket, and all of a sudden, just as you're going to see it, Gary Clark, bam, pops into your vision. There he is, right there. I might even be able to get the ball to him.
He's tough to keep up with, and Cedric Mack finally trailed him and bumped him out of bounds. At the 20.
Gary Clark has taken such pressure off of Art Monk being the primary receiver.
Cardinals are leading 10-7. 4:25 left in the half. Bryant down for a loss on the play by Al Bubba Baker. Now you talk about a talker. There's another talker.
There, I'll tell you, with Al Baker and Dexter Manley on this football field this afternoon, you've got two guys who normally carry on conversations from the beginning of a football season until the end of a football season. And he's not necessarily the best of run defenders. He's in there basically for his pass rushing abilities, as Manley is. But there you saw the type of play they're getting from him this year.
Loss of 2 yards.
Rams still ahead of the Jets, 10-0.
Sanders, the 3rd wide receiver, checks in. The thing about Schrader is when you chase him, you can't catch him. He can move.
He is a great athlete. He has an uncanny ability to feel the pressure and such big strides. You know, he's 6'4", 220. I mean, he can take a hit, but he's smart enough to get out of there, and he has wonderful vision as he moves around in the backfield looking for somebody open downfield. That time he bought some time, tried to make the play, and wound up with an incompletion.
Did you think he was going to be this good?
Not this early. To be honest with you, no. I didn't think he'd be this good this early. I knew he'd be good. I was hoping he wasn't quite this good this early.
3rd and 12 at the St. Louis 22. Schrader's 8 out of 17. They can't get to him. And a touchdown pass. And that was Terry Orr. Terry Orr got in there and caught the ball, beautifully thrown by Schrader. And it puts the Redskins back on top. They just can't get to Schrader to keep him from throwing.
No, they can't. That time they decided again. The Cardinals decided to rush 4 and drop 7 back into coverage. It wasn't a question of not being in a good defense. That was a great throw. Not a good throw, a great throw, and an excellent catch by Terry Orr, who was a running back at Texas.
3:25 left in the half. Zendejas clicks. And it's a 4-point lead for the Redskins. 14-10 in quite a football game here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Next on CBS, the Eagles, who lost to the Seattle team, but only because of a couple of plays by the special teams of the Seahawks, have stayed out there all week, and they'll tangle with the Raiders, who could still win their division. The Eagles are in the spoiler role, and there'll be some blows dealt in that game. It's coming up next on CBS when we're through here, and we have 3:25 remaining in the half. 14-10.
There may
Washington.
be some bodies laying around after that one.
There might be. Here is Cox kicking off. Joe Theismann, Jack Buck from St. Louis. Sikahema is deep. And the ball shoots into and out of the end zone, and that's not unusual for Cox. We'll use that passing tree again and have Joe explain something.
We made reference earlier. Now, what you're going to see is this 8 route. If you flop it over where you're going to see Terry Orr, it's the same on either side. It's just a post down the middle to the inside receiver. And right here is Terry Orr. Now you'll see him go down and make the post, and he's going to make a great catch, an excellent throw, but it's set up by the blocking by the offensive line.
He was out of Texas and the number 10 pick a year ago.
There you see him start out a little bit, goes to the post.
Right around Leonard Smith, who's the best back there for St. Louis.
His first catch and his first touchdown.
Cardinals from their 20, trailing by 4. Mitchell. Mitchell wasn't floating out there. He was dashing, and he wanted that ball thrown out in front of him, but didn't get it.
They're almost like quick screens. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set by the quarterback, turn, get the ball to the back so he's got the lineman out in front and get up the field. It's about as close as you're going to get to an outside running play. This is a very important series for St. Louis. They don't want to lose an opportunity to score before the half or give the Redskins good field position and give them the chance.
Monty Coleman is in at the linebacker spot. The running play, and Mitchell is stopped. The Redskins were blitzing that time and ran right into the run. Malott made the tackle. St. Louis,
3rd and 7.
in the past and up till recently, has had a real problem with wide receivers. They lost Roy Green and Pat Tilley at the start of the year. They've had 13 different people line up at wide receiver.
It makes it so difficult as a quarterback, or even Jim Schaffner, the offensive coordinator, to put in some type of continuity and consistency in your passing game when you've got new people who are really going through training camp each week.
Frequently they had so many injuries they couldn't practice with anybody. Coffey, Bowles are in there for the Redskins. 3rd down and 8. Looked like Manley was offside. Pass is incomplete, and on top of J.T. Smith was Tim Morrison, who wouldn't turn him loose. And Smith is saying, hey man, when the whistle blows, cut it out. Outside Redskins.
That's that hard count again by Lomax. They get Manley offside, but now you'll see J.T. Smith come back and make the play. Now Morrison's going to pick him up. I just don't, you know, the guy is young.
5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
The guy is young. I got to agree with J.T. Smith. You know, there's no reason for him to try and pick him up and throw him down. I mean, was he blind? The play's over. It's done. Go on and play football.
Morrison last week had Jerry Rice of the 49ers to contend with.
He had his hands full. He's getting an education. We talked to Curtis Jordan about that.
3rd down and 2. And that's a forward pass and incomplete, and Manley almost intercepted it as Malott got in on him. That was a funny call on 3rd and 2, wasn't it?
Well, you know, they're trying to get the ball up the field. They realize there's 2:22 left in the half. If they just get the first down, they're probably not going to get what they want. Here Malott comes in unmolested from the right part of your screen. he'll head for, they just don't have a back to block him. They rush more people than they can block. There, Manley almost winds up with an interception. He just tried to shovel pass it out to Farrell.
And Cater is into punt, and the Redskins might have an opportunity to put more points on. 2:22 left in the half. This is the third punt by St. Louis. There's a lot of hooting and hollering going on in there. Watch it. Watch it. Sunday. 2:22 remaining in the half. 14-10 in favor of the Redskins. One of those players carried a microphone out there.
I don't know how he got that. Well, you know, we have somebody mic'd down there we don't know about. The referees had a little meeting of the minds.
30-second clock will be kept on the field. Scoreboard clock inoperable.
That's a real disadvantage to the quarterback because they're, you know, the first thing I did as a quarterback, I came out to a stadium early and located the 30-second clocks because that's the amount of time you have to put the ball in play. And it just keeps you in a rhythm and a tempo.
There's a pump by Cater, not too deep. Jenkins lets it bounce. And Carl Carter downs it at the Redskin 40-yard line. So after a 31-yard punt with 2:14 left in the half, Washington has a chance to do some more good.
I'm going to go to the little boys' room, Mike.
2:14 remaining in the half, and the Redskins are at their 41-yard line. Cardinals couldn't move the ball, had to punt it, and there's Gene Stallings talking with Jim Schaffner, the offensive coordinator. I think that 3rd and 2 call might have him a bit upset. The offensive line is intact for the Redskins with Jacoby McKenzie in place of Russ Grimm, Jeff Bostic, R.C. Thielman, and Mark May. Redskins by 4. Here's what happened on their possession. They had a punt twice, but they're 2 TDs. One by Clark and one by Orr. Is caught underneath for a few yards by Monk. The ball came loose. Cardinals think they have it, but I don't think so. No, it's going to be 2nd down. Jeff Bostic got it back.
That is something that the Redskins, oddly enough, teach their offensive line, is when a ball carrier's down the field or a receiver makes a catch not too far down the field, get down there and try and block for them, so they're always around the ball if it does come out.
We have the 2-minute warning. Let's take a look back at a particular game in 1975 between these two teams. The Redskins really needed a victory when they came here to St. Louis. Jim Hart, the quarterback, 4th down and 3. 25 seconds left to play, and Jim Hart passes to Mel Gray. The ball juggled in the end zone. The first call was incomplete. And then after a long discussion, they ruled it a touchdown, and that tied the game 17-all, sent it into overtime. In overtime, Washington never got a hold of the ball. Bakken kicked the field goal. Cardinals won it, and Washington missed the playoffs in 75. You remember that one, Joe?
I do. I was a punt returner on that football team, and absolutely that was not a catch.
That's the way most people agree. Next week, some action. These Giants play at Washington. You'll see the game on CBS. In Tampa Bay into Chicago, the Bears having trouble today scoring some points. These Cardinals move on to Philadelphia. It all starts at 12:30 with the NFL today, 12:30 Eastern time. And the eyes of the football world will be in Washington, where the Giants are playing. Ricky Sanders, extra wide receiver for the Redskins. 2nd and 9. Big screen left, screen right. First down, Warren inside the 45 of St. Louis to the 45, and E.J. Jr. tackled it.
That's a double screen. You know, you figure the defense is going to go after the main man. That would be Kelvin Bryant in that situation. They let Donnie Warren slide out to the right and pick up a big first down.
Redskins use a timeout. E.J. Jr. made that tackle at the Cardinal 45, a 14-yard gain. Well, Minnesota at the half has the lead 14-6 over Tampa Bay. The Vikings with a 6-6 mark could still be a wild card team. San Diego and Indianapolis 10-0. Chargers at the half. No score there. Look at New England having their problems against New Orleans, and the Rams at the half a 10-point lead over the Jets, who have a record of 10-2. And coming up at halftime, and we're only 147 away. Brent Musburger and Irv Cross scores and highlights, and Jim Plunkett will be featured. The grand old man. He's still perking, isn't he, Joe?
He sure is. You know, Jim, I lost the Heisman Trophy to Jim back in 1971, and as many injuries as he had and as much abuse as he's taken, to still be out there leading the Raiders on to victories, it's a real accomplishment. Take my hat off to that guy.
It's a first down at this moment with 1:47 left in the half. Joe, you said St. Louis has been whipped a couple of times with their zone defense, right?
That's right. That's right. They're not comfortable playing it. They're more of a man-to-man style defense.
Schrader can move the club in a short period of time. Inside to Gary Clark. Let's see where they mark it down. It's apparently short of a first down. It is. And it's second down. There was a 9-yard gain. The clock is running.
There was also a safety blitz that Schrader picked up. Did a fine job of hitting Clark.
Hurry up offense. And that's a first down. Caught by Terry Orr, who's become a force in this game. Inside the 25. Joe, what is this call going to be? You know them all. That was a 12-yard gain.
This is one I can't get inside of, because what Joe Gibbs is going to do is he's going to vocally tell Dre Schrader on the sidelines what the play is.
Right, because they called timeout.
What they'll do here is they'll discuss a few options. Okay, do we want to try for the touchdowns? Do we want to try for a couple more first downs and get closer? I think what he's going to want to do is get down around the 15-yard line, which will be about another 10 yards, possibly come out and run the ball. They've been in passing formation, so run the ball once or twice, get the first down, and then take 3 shots into the end zone. If nothing else, come away with a field goal. But I think he's going to want to get a little closer before he tries to put it in the end zone.
Does Joe Gibbs do a lot of talking in a situation like this?
What he's doing, as you see him, that's Don Breaux to his left, who signals the ball, who signals the plays in. Right behind Jay Schrader will be Joe Gibbs. He's in communication with Jerry Rome upstairs, and they're all discussing the options and the possibilities, but make no doubt about it, Joe Gibbs will give the final say on what he wants done in this situation.
How'd you get along with Gibbs?
Great. I really did. We had an interesting relationship. Sometimes he would just look at me and shake his head, and other times he would laugh at me, and we would yell at one another. I guess like any coach and quarterback did. But it was a very good relationship.
First down at the Cardinal 25. Thurman and Smith check in for the Cardinals defensively. Washington has compiled 200 yards already. Incomplete. There was very good blocking by Mark May, who took Bob Clasby way to the outside and behind Schrader and allowed him to step in.
You know, Mark May just does not get the credit that Joe Jacoby does at the left tackle, because Jacoby's usually blocking the big pass rushers, but Mark May has been there for 6 years, was a #1 choice, and any other football team probably would have been to the Pro Bowl 2 or 3 years. Now, you talk about the Pro Bowl, it's just an individual accomplishment. He's that good a football player.
Terry Orr is in there and on a wing. Calvin Bryant in the backfield. 2nd and 10. 3-man rush. Can't get anywhere near him. Caught by Bryant and tackled by Noga.
The Redskins have to be careful. They only have 1 timeout left, and they have to pick the time when they want to use it.
That was a 7-yard pickup, and it's 3rd down and 3. The clock continues to run.
That was the choice by the St. Louis Cardinals, again, to rush 3 that time and drop 8 into coverage. They don't want to give up the big score. I think they're willing to allow the Redskins to go in and possibly get 3, but they don't want to give up the big one.
Do you know what they're going to do here?
I didn't see. They're going to pass.
3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. First down. Fumble. And a wild scramble for it. Washington thinks they have it back.
It bounced right back to Donnie Warren.
Now the clock stops with 27 seconds left in the half. Don Warren recovered the fumble after he had caught the pass for a first down. Now Washington expends their third timeout. We have 27 seconds left in the half, and apparently the Redskins are going to get some more points. No more timeouts for Washington. Schubert kicked a 46-yard field goal. Clark caught a 2-yard touchdown pass. J.T. Smith put the Cardinals back out front with a 4-yard reception, 10-7. And then Orr caught one for 22 yards and a touchdown. And unless the Redskins mishandle the ball or allow the clock to run out, they're going to have at least a chance for a field goal. Schrader is 15 out of 25. At the Cardinal 12. Calvin Bryant, 2-yard gain, clock runs. They still have plenty of time. Let him go, says the official. Leonard Smith made the tackle, and now the referee stops the clock with 13 seconds left, and there's a flag. Leonard Smith got all tangled up with the receiver, Calvin Bryant. And they stopped the clock with 13 seconds left.
It's going to be interesting to see who this call goes against, because it'll make a difference. First of all, it stops the clock.
They may call Leonard Smith for delay of game.
I don't think delay of game. You wouldn't call the defense for delay of game.
Or unsportsmanlike conduct.
That would be probably the call.
You can call either way. Or nothing and just...
We have offsetting fouls. Unsportsmanlike defense, number 45. Unsportsmanlike offense, number 24. Penalties offset.
I think officials do that just to get everybody back to the huddle.
Right. Now the referee, who stopped the clock on his own because of the entanglement over there. Leonard Smith twisted his leg a little bit. Bryant had had knee surgery, and then he stepped on his elbow.
Well, you know, this game here has got the ear markings of a street fight.
Okay, as soon as they line up, the referee will say, start the clock. We have 13 seconds left.
Jay's going to take the snap and throw it out of bounds to stop the clock.
It is second down coming up, 2nd and 8 from the 10.
The officials are discussing whether or not to start the game clock with the snap of the ball,
or whether to take 10 seconds off of it. I don't think they'll do that, because the referee stopped the clock, and they'll just let them line up, snap the ball, start the clock. That's the way it's going to end up here. Because this is not an excessive timeout. Otherwise, they would take 10 seconds off of the clock. But the referee stopped it because of the entanglement. On the sideline, Zendejas thinks that perhaps he's going to be in there. And the Zebras are all gathered together.
Everybody's in a huddle. The referees are in a huddle. The Redskins are in a huddle. The Cardinals are in a huddle. Now everybody's out.
See the two coaches, they're trying to figure out what's going to happen here. Dick Hantack, the referee.
Both fouls. Continuing action. Offsetting. Replay the down. First down.
Okay, so it's back to first down. That's what they're squaring away. It's first down, and the clock will start when the ball is snapped. They still haven't touched Schrader, and he threw it away. The coverage was too tough with 8 seconds left, and the field goal unit comes on. Here comes Zendejas. Zendejas está listo.
Okay.
He's ready, man.
If you say so.
He is ready.
Jay did an excellent thing there. He just tried to get the ball in the end zone. They were going to get the 6 points, 7 points. Nobody was open. He throws it away. That's been the one thing that's been most impressive to me about him, is his ability to make decisions.
Bostic, Schrader, and Zendejas. He's 5 out of 7. He makes it good, and it's a 7-point lead with 4 seconds left in the half. 4 seconds remaining in the half. So the Redskins made pretty good use of the remaining time after fielding the Cardinal punt.
I did. This was the thing that we mentioned. With 2.5 minutes to go, the Cardinals had to try and get a drive going to keep the ball away from the Redskin offense.
Next Saturday, for the 87th time, Army and Navy will get together in Philly. It's live at 2 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And after that, we shall officially learn who the Heisman Trophy Award winner is from the Downtown Athletic Club, and that's at 5:30 Eastern Time on CBS. There was a 30-yard field goal by Zendejas.
Of the 37 times the Redskins have been inside the 20, they've got some type of scoring 34 times. 23 touchdowns, and the rest have been field goals. So that's the kind of efficiency that an offense, has to have if you're going to be a 10-2 football team.
In case you've lost track of it, the Redskins will receive the second half kickoff. And clock's ticking off. Ball is touched and the clock begins. And the half is over. No flags, and the Redskins by 7 at the half. And it was Holmes making the tackle.
John Holmes on return.
The Redskins lead by 7 at the half. They'll take the second half kickoff. Well, Joe Theismann, who is up here in the booth with us, played 12 years in a Washington Redskin uniform. And Joe, we dug out some of your most memorable highlights from your playing days.
I think the most memorable.
Here comes one.
There's one.
Against the Giants.
Against the Giants.
Leonard Marshall. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I think that's the thing I don't miss the most is getting thrown here. Here, take the ball. You can have it. I don't want it.
Now, some people said you were a hothead, but I never believed that. Here is a game against the Bears.
I get a little upset. In this football game, I'd thrown 3 interceptions. Enough of them now. I'm not done yet. Let me ruin here the drinking water.
Take care of the Gatorade.
I had a little bit of a temper.
And then Joe said he'd never quit. They'd have to carry him off the field before he'd quit playing the game of football, and you brought it on yourself, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I've learned my lesson about making statements about things that I want to happen in my life. I said I'll leave this game only if they carry me off. It was stupid to say that.
Joe and I have worked together almost every Sunday here during the football season. We've had a lot of fun. Now, Joe, you said that you got along with Joe Gibbs very, very well, with a unique relationship. Also, at the end of your career and before you were hurt, there was talk about you being traded.
Well, I think the Redskins, after they saw the job that Jay Schrader could do, they didn't feel like my presence would be a positive part of that football team. So we sat down and talked, and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to end my career as a Washington Redskin, but they felt it would be in the best interest of the football team to have that happen. I'm not naive enough to think that things don't happen like that.
So how'd you feel when they started off so well with Schrader? It'd be only human nature to say they miss me, but I guess they don't.
I would have loved for him to go out and play not quite as well. I would have loved for him to miss me. The football team and the fans, somebody just to say, well, Joe Theismann, we really miss you. But as it turned out, all the fans, I feel like they missed me. I gave years. We had a lot of fun going back and forth. I'm sorry that I'm not able to play, but I'm delighted for the success of the Redskins.
Wow. Well, they do miss you, because we corralled Jeff Bostic before the game and asked him to deliver a message to Joe.
Well, it was really hard when our team lost him as a quarterback November 18th against the Giants, and probably the most explicit, probably the ugliest injury I've ever seen in football sports since I've played or watched as a kid. We missed Joe, but we found out that Joe found a job that he enjoys. He found a microphone, he can talk to it, and it won't talk back.
And the microphone won't talk back to Joe. The Redskins lead by 7 here at the half, and they're lined up to take the second half kickoff. With Eric Schubert kicking off, we have an intruder on the field. The Redskins lead by 7. Back deep for Washington, Ken Jenkins and Clarence Verdun. And the Redskins want to pull a little further away from the Cardinals. And this kick is short, taken on the 16-yard line by Verdun to the 25. First out across the 35-yard line, and a good start for Washington. That was Jenkins with the ball. It switched right at the end, and another little entanglement. No love lost between these two teams. First time they met. Washington won at 28-21. Cardinals were on the move when the game came to a conclusion.
That stopped at the 11-yard line. Excuse me, at the end of the ball game. One of the things Joe Gibbs tells his football teams, he says the first 5 minutes of the football game and the first 5 minutes of the second half will set the tone for the entire half. So get out there and play well. If it's the defense, stop them. If it's the offense, put a drive together. So this is what the team wants to do now.
Schrader is 15 out of 26. They haven't been able to lay a hand on it.
No, they haven't. The offensive line's done an excellent job. But, of course, the Cardinals have only chose to rush 3 people most of the time, play a little more zone.
Griffin in the backfield. Ricky Sanders, a wide receiver. Monk in motion. And a diving catch by Sanders is good for a few yards. Here's what transpired in the first half statistically. Rushing, Cardinals 72 yards. Washington 18. The passing yards, Washington with a big advantage, and the total yards, Washington with a big advantage. Sanders caught one good for 6 yards. So the rushing game hasn't done much for Washington.
Well, but this is the kind of situation where they'd like to run Keith Griffin up the middle to try and pick up the first down.
And he has first down yardage.
By doing that, they allow their offense to play offensive football, and that's keep the defense off guard. The Cardinals here have got to stop the Redskins, or else they turn this game into a 24-10 football game, which is a tough amount to come back from. They've got to move up a little bit. I don't think they have the people to sit back and play catch. I think they're going to have to commit and put more people at the line of scrimmage.
First down for Washington at their own 49-yard line. Through the intended receiver, Anthony Jones.
Pass for Jones, incomplete.
Cardinals have not taken the ball away very often.
Well, they haven't had the opportunity. There you see they've recovered only 9 of 33 fumbles. Now today there's been 2 on the ground, so it's really only 9 of 35 fumbles that they've gotten back, and had only 6 pass interceptions in 306 attempts. Their takeaways have resulted in 13 points. That is not a defense that is helping out an offense. To be honest with you, it's horrible. I mean, they're getting no help whatsoever. That time, you could see the Redskins trying to get the ball down the field.
2nd and 10. Flag is down. Kelvin Bryant loses yards.
Pass complete to Bryant. Tackle by Glasby. Bell.
There you saw the referee indicate that when the man goes in motion, he's got to go parallel. He cannot go forward, so it's illegal procedure against the Redskins.
I thought they might call it on Monk on the previous play.
Well, they got him that time.
Illegal motion, offense, number 81, penalty decline, 3rd down.
Redskins don't pile up many penalties, 71 before today.
No, they're not. It's something they concentrate on. They keep a full-time official on their practice field on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so that the guys get used to having a guy throw a flag if they do make a mistake. They try and create a game environment.
3rd and 13. Terry Orr is in the lineup. Monk in motion. 3-man rush. And the pass is incomplete to Monk. And you talk about plastering somebody. Carl Carter was right on top of the receiver.
Well, that's what they try and do. They try and move Art Monk as much as they can through the formation so that somebody like Carl Carter cannot lock up on him. Now, you'll see Monk, you see Orr clear out. Now, Monk's going to come into your picture. Jay makes the throw. Now, it could be real questionable whether or not that was interference. You know, as you look at it, obviously he must have timed it just perfectly.
Here's the 3rd punt by Cox. He's averaged 49 yards per kick. He's played 2 minutes in the 3rd quarter, and Sikahema is a dangerous punt return man. They let it go, and it is into the end zone, and it is a touchback. So the Cardinals will get the ball for the first time in the 2nd half. That was a 54-yard kick. After this weekend, the playoff picture is going to be much more clear. The Giants technically lead the East because they beat Washington in the first game. And the Bears, of course, are in the Central Division with regard to the playoffs, and they could clinch the title. The best of the rest, Washington 10-2. The 49ers play the Giants tomorrow night. A win for Washington here assures them of a wild card and a home site for the wild card game. Dallas is still alive, and so are New Orleans and Minnesota. But there'll be some tough losses today. Joe Theismann, what do you think about some of those others? Who do you think has the best chance to get in?
I think LA's got a shot at a wild card, and I think San Francisco has a shot at winning that division.
From the 20, Earl Farrell and Stump Mitchell in the lineup for St. Louis. Here we go with that battle again between Sharp and Manley. Mitchell loses about 5. He is hurting with ribs and a toe and all, and Joe said earlier that you're not going to get outside against Charles Mann and Calvin Daniels, the linebacker.
Well, you get such quick secondary support that they force everything right to the sideline and allow the pursuit of that defense to pin him in. You have to realize the team speed up front for the Redskins with Manley and Butts and Grant and Mann is quite exceptional for big men. And as I mentioned, you know, Richie Malott, who doesn't get his number called quite a bit, is a very fast linebacker.
Extra wide receiver in there for St. Louis, 2nd and 15. Running play on a delay to Farrell. Malott knocked him down. And it's going to be 3rd and long.
That's a good call by the Cardinals. What they do is they realize the Redskins are up close, and they feel like they're going to key on Stump Mitchell, so they run Farrell the other way, break through the pass rushers coming up, get into the secondary. If they're in man-to-man coverage, you make one guy miss, you get a big gain.
He's had a big year. He's very good at catching the ball. He's an excellent blocker, good runner, and he had a big run in this game. It is 3rd down. Miss Roy Green. By the way, number 81, Roy Green, has not caught a ball all day.
That time he was covered by 2 youngsters, Tim Morrison and Todd Bowles.
He's having a tough year.
Yeah, you know, he had his ankle operated on, was out for a while. There was some rumblings going on in St. Louis that, well, maybe he couldn't play hurt. I don't think that's the case. I've had the opportunity to play in a couple of Pro Bowls with this guy, and there aren't many that are as tough as he are, believe me.
There's the 4th punt by Cater and a 3rd catch by Jenkins. And he took it at the 47-yard line. So Washington gets a very good starting position. That was only a 30-yard punt. Immediately after the Army-Navy game next Saturday on CBS, you will view the Heisman Trophy award ceremonies from the next Saturday. Immediately after the Army-Navy game, you will view the presentation of the Heisman Trophy Award at the Downtown Athletic Club in New York City next Saturday at 5:30 Eastern on CBS. While Washington took the second half kickoff, advanced to the 37. Now they start from their 48. And Ricky Sanders is a wide receiver. 1st down. Griffin bounces for a few into Cardinal territory, 5 yards.
That particular play is an audible where Jay will get to the line of scrimmage, take a look at what the defense is going to do, and direct Keith Griffin either to the left, as he did with that one, or to the right.
And Joe Theismann is able to pick up the signals from the sideline. Did you see it this trip?
I have a little advantage. Yeah, I think this is going to be another one of those situations where they had 2nd down and 5. They ran last time. They'll run again this time.
One blocking. Griffin taken down from behind by Clasby. He gained only a yard. It's 3rd down. Here, who's that signaling in the calls?
Just to the left of the gentleman with the headset on, who is Joe Gibbs, is Don Bro. To the right of him is Joe Bugle, and to the left is the great All-Pro, Charlie Taylor.
Calvin Bryant comes in on 3rd down from the St. Louis 46. 3rd and 4. Look at there, Buffalo.
This particular down and distance, they like to try and get the ball to Calvin Bryant.
3-man rush. And it is caught for 1st down. And it was Art Monk slipping into the open inside the 35, and that time Baker got in on Schrader, but he dumped it in a hurry for 14 yards.
He's got such quickness to get back and set and throw the football and make his reads. That's one of the real strengths. The Redskins for years have built a running attack on what's called a gut play. That's just where the guards and tackles fire out. This is one where Keith Griffin is going to run to the left side between Reggie McKenzie and Joe Jacoby. Just to the top of your screen.
There it is. And there was a hole, good for some yards. Raleigh McKenzie playing in place of Russ Grimm, 4-yard pickup.
The Redskins just hang their hat on the fact that they've got big people up front and can overpower you as the game goes on. Joe Jacoby, a mere 6'7", 305 pounds. Now, I think that's a guess. He's probably closer to about 315. And I used to have a problem with Joe in the huddle. He can't hear out of the ear that faces. I think it's the right ear as he gets in the huddle. And so he'd always have to turn his head. So I'd have to talk real loud to that side so he could get the play.
8.5 left in the third quarter. 2nd and 6. Monk in motion. The ball comes to the St. Louis 25-yard line with Griffin carrying the ball, and a flag is down belatedly. Looks like the Cardinal run defense is pretty stiff today.
Well, it's never really been, that's been a problem. They've never really had the ability to stop the run. They've been very good against the pass.
There's a big penalty, a personal foul. I didn't see anything untoward, did you?
I did. At the end of the play, I think somebody might have come in late on R.C. Thielman.
That's a major penalty.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 53, first down.
The call against Freddie Joe Nunn, the linebacker.
There you go. There's on.
He stepped down.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Why do you want to hurt your football team like that? I mean, things like that are the reason why teams don't win football games.
The ball at the St. Louis 12 as a result. This is a good drive by Washington. 1st and 10. Bryant fakes one way, goes the other, cuts back and gets about 4.
That's that counter play the Redskins run.
7:45 left in this third quarter. We've had no scoring in this period. It's 17-10 in favor of Washington. They started this drive after taking a punt at their own 48. They're at the Cardinal 8. What is this, Joe? You know?
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to let it run. Our Monk's not going to go very far past Donnie Warren. Run a little crossing pattern, try and get Monk open.
And incomplete off the hands of Bryant. And incomplete on 2nd down.
Everybody gave a big sigh that time. E.J. Jr. had a shot at it. I'll guarantee you when it tipped off of Kelvin Bryant's fingers, Jay Schrader gave a big sigh. Schrader going back in the pocket now. You see Kelvin Bryant.
Can't get him.
Well, no, they can't. The thing he can't is he has the ability to move. There you see him move to the right of the pocket. Now he sees Kelvin Bryant. Now Kelvin does the right thing. He just jogs back. Ball's a little bit high. You need to get down close. You get those hands up. It's hard to get the ball down around somebody's chest.
Washington has been good on 3rd down. 7 out of 10 times they have converted. Washington, Thurman, and Smith all in there defensively in the backfield for St. Louis. 3rd down. And who wants it? The Cardinals get the interception on the 1-yard line. Carl Carter came down with the ball. He thinks he was in the end zone, and the official says, let's put it on the 1. Carter with the interception. And that's his first as a pro.
And I believe that's just a youthful quarterback who's got a great amount of belief in his right arm, and he feels like he can throw it through the eye of a needle. That time Jay set, and then tried to fire it in.
I agree with the spotting of the ball, which is on the 1. The crowd is vociferous in their opposition, and Carter is beside himself.
What a lot of people don't understand is even though his body may have been in the end zone, and the fans don't agree with it, his body may have been in the end zone, the ball did not break the plane of the end zone, therefore it goes on the spot where it is.
Let's watch it again. That was a 4-minute drive, ends up in nothing for Washington.
Now Schrader's going to try and force this to Gary Clark. Again, you see Clark back there? He tries to lead him.
He comes down in the end zone.
He comes down with his knees in the end end zone.
But his forward progress is out to the 1.
I got to feel like it's where his possession was. The ball should be on the 20, not on the 1-yard line.
I don't think so. It's a first down and a pass by Lomax. And Smith.
I like that kind of call. You know, you're a 3-9 football team.
It's not where you are. It's where the ball is when you go down.
But
he went down on the goal line. The ball was on the 1.
How could you tell? The ball hadn't hit the ground. I still feel like, you know, if it even breaks any part of the goal line, it should be in the end zone.
Yeah,
you're
but that's
splitting
going
hairs
that way,
down there.
not coming out.
Well, I know, but coming out's the same thing. Coming out, it's the same thing. It still has to break that plane.
The ball's at the 9 on the catch by Smith.
That's a big play by Lomax and Smith. J.T. Smith has been the man the Cardinals have tried to go to when they need big plays, and he's come up play after play, week after week.
Comes to the left with Green. Foul on a punt. Breaks out for a first down. And a flag is down. They toss a flag on this one. That was an 11-yard gain.
That's that hard count again. That time they didn't get Dexter Manley. They got Charles Mann, the right defense or the left defensive end.
Offside, St. Louis.
No, they just changed it.
That was the first call.
Offside, defense, number 71, penalty decline, first down.
Okay. First, the referee pointed at the Cardinals. So Farrell ran it out to the 20.
All the years that I've played quarterback for the Washington Redskins, when we used to get in practice, one of the things I used to love to do was hard count the defense and try and get them offside.
From behind by Manley. That's the 5th sack today. And, you know, a fellow like Sharp did an excellent job of blocking that time.
See, the offensive line receives a lot of criticism for sacks. That was not an offensive line sack. That was a quarterback sack. He had ample time to unload the football, to make a decision, to throw it out of bounds. He chose to hold it, winds up with the sack.
Talked to Lomax this week. He said, I've got to dump the ball, either throw it to their primary receiver or throw it away and hardly look for the second man.
We've seen Jay Schrader get rid of 3 or 4 this afternoon. Lomax is going to have to do the same thing to keep his football team out of the long yardage situations.
Now 2nd and 13. Extra wide receiver, Troy Johnson. Green in motion. A draw play. Mitchell breaks out to the 28. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2. 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. The Redskins aren't comfortable yet. They only lead by 7, 17-10. Monty Coleman made that tackle. 3rd down coming up. Redskins get a lift with the return of Monty Coleman.
You know, that interception in the end zone was only the 4th time this year that the Redskins have not produced points inside the 20-yard line.
They make it 3rd and a yard. Looks like he could sneak the ball. Come outside to Mitchell, and it's stuffed. Brown, the guard, was trying to lead the way, and there was Curtis Jordan. He really jammed the play up. What a good job Jordan did, along with Walton, the safety man, the other safety man.
Curtis Jordan. Now Lomax is going to move this way with somewhat of an option play. He comes firing in. Malott comes firing in. They wind up tackling him for no gain.
Joe Bostic.
Here you see Curtis Jordan fill right inside. Come on up and make the hit. That's that hard secondary support.
Joe Bostic is down. One of the 2 brothers, with Joe being the older of the 2.
Talked to Joe yesterday in the locker room. He said, I said, do you ever root for Jeff at any point in time? He said, yeah, back when you guys were going to the Super Bowl. He said, I was sitting there with my Redskin hat on and cheering like heck.
5:10 left in the 3rd quarter. Let's join Brent Musburger.
But, Jack, here's what Eric Dickerson can do against 10 defensive players. The Jets a little short-handed. The 10 cut him off. He comes back the other way. The 11th man nowhere to be seen. 17-0 Rams over the Jets. Back to Jack and Joe.
Big game for the Rams, who are trying to win their 9th game of the year. They're 8-4. At the moment, 49ers, who play tomorrow night against New York, are 7-4-1. The Rams playing at home are having a good day, and they still tend to Joe Bostic. Cardinal Dr. Jody Ginsburg tends to Joe Bostic, who walked off the field under his own power. And there's his father with the hat on as he watches his two boys play. And there is Jeff Bostic of the Redskins. Here's the punt by Greg Cater. And Jenkins took it on the 28. Came through a couple of tacklers out across the 35-yard line. The Redskins have the better of the punting game today. That was a 43-yard kick, however, by Cater, who's averaged 36 yards today, and Cox has averaged 51 yards. Let's look over in the AFC and check the playoff picture. Jets 10-2, and Cincinnati technically ahead of Cleveland, and Denver watching their lead dwindle, and the others who are in contention. New England 9-3. The Raiders could still win it all. Cleveland could still win it all. Kansas City and Seattle could get in as wild cards. Ryan in the backfield and with the ball, and about 8 yards, and there goes a flag, and it might be a face mask against Leonard Smith. I think he knows he did it. Face mask against the Cardinals and Leonard Smith. Leonard's a very good performer. He is a tough cookie, Joe.
He sure is. He's played very well in that secondary.
Face mask, defense, number 45, 5 yards, first down.
That makes it a first down.
There you see him grab him right on the face. That's a, you know, it's the kind of thing you just hate to see happen, but a lot of times there's no place to grab anybody. You just want to get them down.
That is not an automatic first down, but the yardage makes it a first down at the 50. Buffalo still beating Kansas City. Griffin dancing for a couple, and it ran into Bob Clasby, the former Notre Damer. That was a 3-yard gain. Clasby, number 79. He's not extremely fast, but he's good size. 6'5", 260. He was a free agent.
2nd and 7.
He played for Chicago, Arizona, and Jacksonville in the other league, the USFL. Second and 8.
Cardinal defense seems to be playing to the occasion here, playing a little more zone. Again, it looks like they're going to drop the people back in coverage.
Or is the fullback blocking for Bryant. He has stood straight up by Clasby again, and he got some help from Anthony Bell, number 55.
Right of your screen, you're going to be Clasby coming. You're going to come right in here and hit Kelvin Bryant. Come around the horn and plays off the block of Mark May. Puts a shoulder right there. That's the one thing the Redskins have had. They've always had that big back who can push a pile. And with Keith Griffin and Kelvin Bryant, they need little holes to go through. They can't push a pile like a John Riggins could or a George Rogers does.
Schrader has 3rd and 6. Sanders checks in. 3-man rush. Schrader steps up, on the move, and with all kinds of time, he throws complete on 3rd down.
Pass complete to Sanders.
And that was Sanders, Ricky Sanders. It looks like it's going to be 4th down and inches. Schrader seems to have all the time he needs. New Orleans breaks out in front now in the 4th quarter over New England. Buffalo is ahead by 10 in the 3rd quarter, and that's really going to damage Kansas City. Minnesota is going to win their 7th game of the year. Perhaps they're still alive in the playoff for a wild card only. Joe Bostic is definitely out for the rest of the day with a bad knee. 4th and inches. Now the Redskins. What sort of unit is this they're bringing out? Looks like their power unit, doesn't it? They're going to go for it. Griffin lines up in the backfield for them.
Yeah, in this situation, there's there are a couple things the Redskins do. They aren't necessarily the type of a gambling team, but where they really like to hang their hat is a play called 70 chip. And that's where they ran over Joe Jacoby on the left side and Russ Griffin. As I mentioned, Raleigh McKenzie's in there to play the left guard position. Donnie Warren is the fullback. Keith Griffin's the back. I think what they're going to do is just try and power it out.
Well, I don't know where they're going to mark the ball, but that was very close. I kind of think, even before they mark it, that he made the first down. 2:38 left in the third quarter. They stopped the clock as they measure. They had Warren and Jones and Terry Orr in there. Didier, by the way, is in uniform and could play in a dire emergency.
For the Redskin fans who remember back to Super Bowl 17 when the Redskins beat the Miami Dolphins, and that the play called 70 chip, that was a similar version to it. Of course, you didn't get quite the distance you did out of that one, but that was John Riggins scoring the touchdown.
I'm guessing that he made this.
He did, by a nose.
You throw in with me, huh?
I agree with you on this one. He made it by a nose. Again, when you get in a pileup, it's a spot.
He had it all the way.
That's a nose.
That's the nose of the ball, and a first down at the Cardinal 39-yard line.
That's just an excellent individual effort by Keith Griffin to get that extra inch or two.
2:38 remaining in the third quarter. Let's see what the Redskins make of that break on fourth down. Prior to today, they had been 4 out of 7 on fourth down.
This is also a situation where Joe Gibbs likes to take a chance to take a shot up the field.
Griffin running with the ball. And he got about 4. By the way, the fog is settling down closer to field level. We have a second down play coming up after another tackle by Clasby. Top of the buildings in the area obscured. Joe Gibbs still not happy. His club leading by only 7. He was paranoid about this game coming in. They play the Giants at home next Sunday.
2nd and 6.
Griffin stays in on 2nd and 6. Monk in motion. Brother pops it over the middle, and Griffin is walloped by the linebacker, Anthony Bell. Bell was a #1 pick out of Michigan State, and he hasn't done a heck of a lot since joining the club. He was a holdout in training camp, and that hurt him.
Well, he was also designated to back up Freddie Joe Nunn at the outside linebacker position. What they've done is they've moved him to the inside left linebacker position, given him a chance to play more. And like any young rookie, the more you play, the better you're going to get. He just needs some playing time. 6'3", 231 out of Michigan State.
That fourth down play a while ago was a big one, and that allows the Redskins to continue the drive. They have a first down at the 29. Griffin got about 9 more to the 20, and they're wearing them down now, Joe.
Well, that's what happens is you get a big offensive line. They just keep pounding and pounding and pounding, leaning on the linebackers, leaning on the defensive line. Watch them fire out now. There you see Joe Jacoby come across, Bostic picking up Baker. Now look at that hole that Keith Griffin has. You could have run through there, Jack.
No. I
Or
could
5
have
or 6.
9-yard pickup to the 20. R.C. Thielman and Mark May doing good work on that last snap. 15 seconds left in the quarter. Griffin bounces off, gets a first down, and that will mark the end of the third quarter, and it will have been scoreless for both teams. And the Redskins, who led at the half 17-10, still hold forth. The end of the third quarter, 17-10 in favor of Washington. Next Sunday, the Giants play at Washington, Tampa Bay at Chicago, and St. Louis at Philadelphia. It all begins at 12:30 with the NFL Today. And you can see the race in the NFC East advantage at the minimum for Washington as they try for their 11th win. At the Cardinal, 18 first down. Bryant in the backfield, running with the ball. Outside, inside, driving and taken down after a couple. We had a scoreless third quarter. Tacklers were Noga and Carter. The last time they were on a drive, the Redskins were stymied by that interception. They had the only turnover today. Ball at the 16. Kept the ball for more than 5 minutes. We're at Busch Stadium here. 17-10. Outset of the fourth quarter. Redskins leading and driving. Schrader to Calvin Bryant. And the Cardinals covered it very quickly with Carter coming up to make the hit after Leonard Smith slowed him down.
It looks like two things are happening. The Cardinals are becoming more aggressive on defense, and the Redskins have chosen to try and run the football more this second half, which is a little bit different than what they've done all year. They've been, like we say, a big play football team. They put the ball up down the field a lot, had a lot of big plays over 25 yards. And the Cardinals been playing a little passive. Now it looks like the intensity's picked up on the Cardinal side. The Redskins are holding it a little close to the vest.
3rd down and 7 at the 15-yard line. Washington checking defensively for St. Louis. And it is batted down, incomplete on 4th down. They just can't catch Schrader, but the Cardinals apparently had it covered well, and Leonard Smith batted it down.
They see Monk come in motion. Now the Cardinals, they decide to go man. They play a combination coverage. Now right there, Schrader wants to go to Clark at the top of your screen. Now he starts slipping around a little bit, scrambling to the right. He tries to make a throw to Terry Orr. He gets batted down. Nice job of coverage by the Cardinals secondary.
34-yard try. Bostic will snap it. Schrader will hold it at the 24. He really thumped it, and it's no good. Keeps it a 7-point game, so they were stymied on the interception. Just missed a 34-yard field goal, and it is a tenuous 7-point lead for Washington with 13:20 left.
St. Louis 1st and 10.
13:20 left. The Cardinals at their 20, trailing by 7. Washington kept the ball for 6.5 minutes, 12 plays, and missed a field goal. A good block by Earl Farrell, and a player is shaken up. Curtis Jordan's slow getting up, but he's all right.
Lomax slips. Now there you see again running to Dexter Manley's side, who's going to come up the field as a pass rusher, and that's vintage Stump Mitchell. He has always given the Redskins a problem when he's played against them. He used to fill in for O.J. Anderson and still have big games. Now he's the main man in St. Louis and still performing.
1st down. 73 yards for Mitchell in the game on 9 carries. Kennard is playing the guard spot. Farrell gets a few. We have Derek Kennard at the other tackle spot, guard spot, with Joe Bostic out. Schrader, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gary Clark has caught a touchdown pass. J.T. Smith, a touchdown pass. We had a scoreless 3rd quarter. It's 2nd down and 5. J.T. Smith to the right side. Green in the slot left. In motion. And Green catches his first of the day for a 1st down at the 42-yard line. That's the kind of sort of pass that's designed to keep that front 4 off of Lomax.
It also is designed to give Roy Green an opportunity to move along, as the Redskins do with Art Monk, the Cardinals do with Roy Green. They like to move him so that people can't get up on his face. Roy Green just happens to be covered by probably the best defensive back in the National Football League, and that's Darrell Green, who made the tackle that time, who's playing sparingly because of a bruised shoulder he got against the 49ers in that Monday night game.
Down at the 42, Mitchell. Wrestled down by Darrell Grant. knocked down by Malott.
St. Louis is coming up to the line of scrimmage and just running on quick counts. It looks like they don't want to give the Redskins a chance to settle in and make calls on defense. Just come up, boom, boom, and gone.
They're not running at Butts very often, are they?
No, they run away from Dave Butts. Any opportunity they get, anybody gets, they run away from Dave Butts.
Coleman is in. Daniels out at the linebacker spot. Look at there. The Bears, who could wrap up their division today, are trailing in the fourth quarter by 7. Cleveland has their hands full. Second down and a long 6 here. Farrell moves the back. Oh, is he driving? Look at that surge. He's very close to a first down. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Looks like he's about a half a yard short. Looked like a Riggins pile moving.
Absolutely. You know,
drive.
we've been talking about the Redskin offensive line, but you got Sharp, Brown, Chilton. Of course, now Kennard in for Bostic and Tootie Robbins. You've got guys with the most years of experience there, the 2 tackles with 5 years. This is a young football team that's beginning to find itself offensively.
3rd down and 1 at the 33 of Washington. Well, they've got it stacked up defensively. And Farrell had trouble. Nothing doing on that one.
He's going to be short, and the guy who made the crunching hit was Alvin Walton, who's coming in play strong safety ahead of Ken Coffey, who started the season. But you'll see him come flying in. Right to the right of your screen is Alvin Walton, aimed like a linebacker. Now watch him fill right here on Farrell. Olkewicz makes the hit, but there's the hit right there that stops him from the first down.
Cardinals are going to try for it. They're bringing Wolfley. They're bringing Novacek. It's 4th down, and the Cardinals are 8 out of 14 on 4th down this year.
Yeah, but that's football. To go out there, you've got to try it. Your season, you need something to build on with your season. A big play here gives you momentum and confidence.
They've been bad on 3rd down, only 2 out of 9. That's who got it. Somebody missed the tackle. Darrell Grant ran right by him. Which is easy to do.
It is easy to do. When you make those slants and you're in a gap defense, a goal line defense, you're responsible for one gap. Sometimes you come through clean, but they count on the back making you miss.
They move the ball down to the 33. They're going to measure. I don't think they gave him the forward progress that I thought he had, but I still think he made it by a couple of inches.
Remember the Redskins got one by a nose before? I think the Cardinals just got theirs by a nose here.
We may both be wrong. I mean, he didn't make it. Well, that's the difference, isn't it? Boy, that forward progress on that last play. Everybody in the stadium thought that Mitchell straight up, still standing, had a first down and then was driven back.
I did too.
I did too. 9:04 left in the game. Let's watch the play. He had to get to the 32-yard line.
You see him well, you can't.
And in any event, the ball goes over to Washington, and the Skins still lead by 7. Under Joe Gibbs, the Redskins have been terrific in the last few years going down the stretch. Last year 3-1 and 82, 83, 84. Nobody could knock them off. Very impressive, Joe.
Well, I think a couple of reasons. Number one, it's one area that the Redskins preach. They build their football team around their running game. When you get into the latter part of the season, you have to be able to run the football and play good defense. And those are the 2 things the Redskins have done extremely well while Joe Gibbs has been their head coach.
Well, the Skins are in a tussle here today. They lead by 7. 9:04 left. First down at their 33. Sanders is in as a wide receiver. Monk in motion. Home run throw. Clark couldn't get it. But he did everything but catch it with Carl Carter staying with him. Carter, by the way, is quite a sprinter. 100 meters in 10.12. It's tough to stay up with Clark, I'll tell you that.
They're the Redskins. Their impatience showing here a little bit. They want to try and go. Gary Clark just lays out. The ball just bouncing off his fingers.
Schrader threw that ball, what? How many yards?
Oh, probably a flick of a wrist, 50 yards
30,
for him.
50, 60 yards.
Yep.
8:57 left.
Second and 10 at 33.
Clark comes to the left. Dennis Thurman checks in for St. Louis as the extra back. Monk in motion, reading the defense. A little swing pass, fake, and a screen. The other side is incomplete. And it was David Galloway in the midst of things over there on the far side of the field.
David Galloway just seems to be around the football. Last week he picks up 2 fumbles. This week he almost picks up an interception. Galloway should be right in the middle of your screen. What's going to happen is Schrader's going to go back, fake a screen to this side to Calvin Bryant while Warren sets the same one they hit before to try and get him the ball. See Galloway looping around outside. Now he sees Warren, Schrader with the fake, and goes right through his hands.
Schrader is 21 out of 39. 3rd and 10. Incomplete. Into heavy coverage. Incomplete. And there you had the safety man Lonnie Young and Carl Carter. Number 41. Carter has made 3 tackles, 1 assist, 1 interception, and 4 defenses. And Cox is going to kick for the 4th time.
The offensive line of the Redskins giving Jay Schrader an opportunity to look downfield. Great coverage by the secondary of the Cardinals.
He could knit a sweater while he's standing back there looking.
You know, he's got those happy feet. He keeps them moving around. And the Redskins practice at least once a day as they go through their session, a scramble drill where the receivers run around.
Almost blocked, and Sikahema waits. 25-yard line. 30. Cardinals go from there with 8:35 left. Tim Morrison downfield to make the tackle. 43-yard punt. And later today, you'll see the 1971 Heisman Trophy winner, Jim Plunkett. He's still perking, and he'll entertain the Philadelphia Eagles. You'll see that on CBS. Checking the standings in the Western Division. The AFC, Denver by only a game over the Raiders. Kansas City trailing today. That would be their 6th loss if they get knocked off. And really make it troublesome for them trying to make the playoffs. So you can see what a big game it is for the Raiders, and the Eagles could beat them.
Yeah, well, they could, but the Raiders know they have to win every game if they have a shot at the division. And they're the kind of football team that can do it.
Cardinals from the 30. Farrell and Mitchell. Marsh, the tight end on the right side. Here, and they're making some noise as Mitchell gives the Cardinals some life on a pass and run to the 46.
Well, Lomax does the right thing. He makes the play action fake. They want to go up the field. He reloads, looks around. He's not the runner that, say, Randall Cunningham is from Philadelphia. Dumps it off to the back and lets him do the run.
The Washington 46, a first down. Trouble with the ball and a lot of trouble with the Redskins. The handoff was a little bit low. He bobbled it.
Yeah, you know, those quick hitters, that's what happens sometimes. You just run into the line of scrimmage, and if you don't have the ball put away, you can drop it. That time he regrouped, still only wound up with a yard.
How about these Redskins? They like playing on this AstroTurf?
Not at all. I don't know any football player that likes playing on AstroTurf. And the Redskins, you know, if you look at their road record, it's not been as sterling as the record that they have at home. They love to play at home. That's why this game's so important. At least if they're going to clinch a wild card spot, they want to play it at home.
2nd and 9. Smith to the right. Green in motion. Johnson, the other wide receiver. Running play to Mitchell. And that's a first down. They caught Washington blitzing, and the run went right by it.
That's something. You live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. That time a saving tackle, or else Stump Mitchell would have been in the end zone. He hits it real quick. 12 carries, 87 yards, 1 catch, 24 yards. He's the man that this Cardinal offense is built around. Neil Lomax having a very sound afternoon, making good decisions with the football. That's what you need from the quarterback position, are good decisions. And now he's adding some great throws on top of it.
Mitchell, 12 carries, 87 yards. First down at the 35. 6:10 left in the game. Cardinals trailing by 7. Mitchell again, and he knocked down by Manley. Even though Manley had been cut blocked, he knocked down Mitchell. And Mitchell took a tumble.
Right at the top of your screen, you're going to see Dexter Manley come up the field real hard.
He's got the tight end with him there.
He just overpowers Sharp.
Right.
And winds up tripping up Stump Mitchell. They want to run away from Dave Butts, and if they're choosing to run, they feel like they'd rather go at Manley, of course, who's, you know, only about 45 pounds lighter than Butts. Makes sense.
Coleman checks in as a linebacker. Short drop. Home run. Roy Green. Touchdown. Trying to cover a 35-yard touchdown pass, and that's a killer for these Redskins, Joe. Especially they make this extra point.
It is. That what they've done is the Cardinals have chosen, it looks like they're going to go up top. They're going to go up against Barry Wilburn. He seemed to have a little trouble finding the football, so every now and then he'll just take a shot and see what happens. That time Roy Green made the conversion.
Schubert makes it and ties it. 5-2-3 left in the game. Green's 4th touchdown of the year. In case you're wondering whether Roy Green got both feet in, we'll show you. First of all, very good pass protection. Lomax steps up, lays it out with a good follow through. Barry Wilburn is trying to cover. They're both playing, looking at the ball. Green runs by him and definitely has both feet in bounds. And now the crowd is alive here, small as it is, 35,000. .5:23 remaining in the game.
When Barry Wilburn joined the Redskins, I think the one thing that he has had trouble with are deep passes. A lot of people have tried to go up top on him at least once or twice in a football game. There they went up top for the 6.
Schubert kicking off to either Jenkins or Clarence Verdun. And it is Jenkins from the 19. Knocked down outside the 30-yard line. Plenty of operating room for Schrader. With 5:15 left, Roderick Sargent made the tackle. You remember, folks, the field goal that was missed by Zendejas with 13.5 minutes left in this 4th quarter.
The one area for the Redskins which has probably not been anywhere near where it has in the past has been their kicking game. They've made a change. Mosley now is in Cleveland. Zendejas has come in, ran into some trouble early. He missed 3 extra points, missed a couple of key field goals. It puts a lot of pressure on the offense to execute when you don't have that 3-point cushion.
Well, who's going to score next? Griffin is in the backfield. With Warren, the fullback. There it is, wide open to Griffin, and he is good for about 7 yards to the 40.
That's that same little play action pass. You fake to the back in the backfield. You get that secondary and backers dropping back. You dunk the ball off to the running back just between the line of scrimmage and the depth of the linebackers.
Good for 7 yards. Ricky Sanders is in the lineup for the Skins. Getting tight now, folks. 4:40 left in the game. Griffin surges for a first down. 13:20 left in the game. A 34-yard try by Zendejas earlier, and this was the miss.
Now what's happened is Zendejas, they felt, got to the ball real quick, so they backed him up a yard. He doesn't kick from 7 yards back like a lot of kickers. He kicks from 8 yards back to try and slow him down a little bit. He's still a rookie. He's still trying to find his groove. Has plenty of leg, but they still have to figure out how to get him to put it between the uprights more consistently.
And he may be called upon at the end of this drive. 4 minutes left. First down at the 44. Monk in motion. Three-man rush. Early throw. Incomplete and off the hands of Freddie Joe Nunn. What a break for the Skins as Freddie Joe Nunn had butterfingers on that one.
That has been the thing that has hurt the St. Louis Cardinals all year. We showed you earlier the graphics about converting takeaways. Here,
Baker breaks in on.
He breaks clean on Schrader. Schrader throws this one off balance, trying to get it to Monk. As he comes in, he makes the throw. It's a little high.
You can't catch that. You can't catch anything.
Well, that's exactly what's happened. They've just let him get through their hands. We did a San Francisco game where we saw him drop 2 interceptions.
Schrader is 22 out of 42. By the way, Mark Mosley hit a field goal today for Cleveland.
Right.
2nd and 10. Cardinals stay with a 3-man rush. Monk in motion. What a rifle throw. What a beautiful throw for a first down to Ricky Sanders inside the 40. Boy, you talk about a fastball.
That's the perfect gun you want to have if you're going up against a zone defense.
Wow.
That's just classic Jay Schrader. If there's any style that he's developing, it's one where he gets back about 12 yards.
I was going to be sure of that.
It's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
When you're in a huddle, you know, as a quarterback, when I played with the Redskins, they used to look up at that clock and let everybody know that 2 minutes was coming.
It's going to be 3rd and 1 when we come back at the Cardinal 28. There's Zendejas.
In my experience under Joe Gibbs, in this situation, he's going to want to try and get the first down. Then he's going to play to win this thing with a field goal. He may take a couple shots, but he's instructed Jay explicitly, if somebody's not open, don't force it. Try and work it down. We'll get the field goal and win it that way. Again, the way the Redskin offense is played is a little uncharacteristic from what I'm used to seeing a Joe Gibbs offense do. It's basically conservative with shots built in. Here, they take shots up the field all the time.
This is a 3rd and 1 play. You recall that Washington has stopped the Cardinals a couple of times in a similar spot, but the Cardinals haven't stopped Washington. Griffin apparently has the first down as he was spinning while still driving. Griffin is 5'8", 185. This is his 3rd year. He got 2 and he got a first down, and the clock runs, and each team has 3 timeouts remaining. And the Cardinals are going to have to, well, Joe, are they doing the wrong thing by not stopping the clock?
No, not at all. They've got 3 timeouts. What they're going to do in this particular play is they're going to run Art Monk across the formation to the right side and try and hit Gary Clark or Art Monk on that little 5-6 yard pattern up the field outside.
From the 26, they're going to throw to Monk, huh?
Nope.
Schrader looks left, and it's dropped. It is dropped by Clark, and that doesn't happen very often. 1:18 remaining.
It really doesn't. Every coach calls a specific play to gain a certain amount of yardage. That time he called that play to gain 5 yards, so he would have 2nd down and 5 in mind. Now the play he wants to call here would be one that'll probably get him a little bit more yardage. And now you'll see Don Bro hiding behind Charlie Taylor, so I can't see the signals.
At this point, it would be a 43-yard try for Zendejas, who's made one and missed one.
The Cardinals have made their substitution to try and stop the pass. It's an excellent time to run the football.
3-man front for the Cardinals. There's a run by Griffin, and Galloway got to him and slowed him down, and the clock continues to run, and the Cardinals still haven't stopped it. Joe, that now they do. 1:06 left in the game.
Well, the reason why the Redskins don't want to stop it, Jack, is if you stop the clock with too much time, it gives the other team's offense a chance to move the ball if you score.
You're talking about why I know why the Redskins didn't stop it, but I don't know why the Cardinals didn't stop it previously on that first down.
Well, they don't want to give them a chance to get too close.
The Redskins have been terrific in finishing some of their games. Let's look back in history for Washington. Mark Mosley in 1982 beat the Giants with this one, 15-14, 9 seconds left. 21 in a row for Mosley. That was an NFL record, and it clinched a playoff spot. 1983, Theismann to Monk against Dallas, 21-10, the final score in this game. Beautiful throw, Joe. 1984, Riggins won over from a yard out with 3 minutes plus left in the game. And a 2-point victory over Dallas. Did he get across the goal line? They argued about this one for a long time. 30-28 Washington. And last year, Schrader to Clark was a game winner over Philadelphia, 17-12. So heartthrobs have been no strangers. And there's Zendejas saying a little prayer along the sideline.
Also,
at the 24.
One of the most impressive things to me about Jay Schrader has been his coolness in this type of a situation in the game. He is totally in charge.
This is third down, 3rd and 8. And a run, quarterback draw, and a first down with 1:01 left and the clock running. Dennis Thurman made the tackle. What a call and what a run. What execution by the Skins.
Well, in the defense, he's the one man that's not uncovered is the quarterback. So what they do is they cover everybody else. The quarterback, with that ability to run, can pick and choose as far as he wants to go. There, Jay knew he had the first down, went down, and got the first down. Redskins, I think they'll run the football now. No question about it. They will run the football and play for the field goal.
The Cardinals still have 3 timeouts, and they haven't used any of them, obviously. And Griffin forges even closer to the goal line. 3 yards. David Callaway holding forth as the nose guard. Timeout called by St. Louis. Second half of the doubleheader coming up, and it's going to be perhaps just as exciting as this one as the Eagles try to knock off the Raiders. And you'll see that on CBS. Next Sunday, we have some action for you. And, of course, the Redskins have the biggest game with the Giants playing there. Tampa Bay at Chicago, the Cardinals at Philadelphia. The playoff picture will be much more clear come next Sunday. We're down to 19 seconds here. The last time the Redskins and the Giants tangled, the audience was diminished because of some action taking place across town. And Ray Knight popped this home run that put the Mets ahead in the clinching game. But it will be undivided attention next Sunday. Giants at Washington. You're going to be there, Joe?
I know. I'm going to be with you.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to be with you in Philadelphia.
This is the 12th play of this drive coming up for the Skins, who've kept the ball for 5 minutes. You remember the pass which Freddie Joe Nunn fingertipped. He could have intercepted it. That might have changed the game altogether the other way.
That's really been the story of the season for the St. Louis Cardinals, as this has been the story of the season for the Washington Redskins. Great late comebacks.
First down coming up from the 13. And Griffin gets to the 10. And 14 seconds. 12.
If the
10.
Redskins have a choice, they'll let it go down to about 8 seconds.
That's what they did, and Schrader called timeout with 8 seconds left, and Zendejas, who missed one from 34 after making one from 30, will come into the game. The little fella, 5'11", 180, out of Arizona, has kicked 6 out of 9. Well, Joe, if the Redskins win it, you certainly have to tip your hat to the Cardinals. They've had an admirable effort here today for a 3-9 team.
They certainly have. I mean, I just don't feel that the record 3-9 is indicative of the type of performance that the Cardinals have put out.
Nor is this performance typical of Washington without Russ Grimm, without George Rogers, and with Darrell Green's sideline.
And also Clint Didier. I think what you see is how important the starting 22 are to the Washington Redskins. Without Clint Didier, you take out 20 yards of reception for the 29 that he's had this year. Without Russ Grimm, you lose part of that all-pro left side. And it's a football team that really has to have all its players.
The reason they call timeout with 8 seconds left and not less time than that is in case they mess up with a procedure call or something, they'd still have an opportunity to tee it up again.
That's right.
is going to be 27 yards. They'll need a snap by Bostic, a hold by Schrader, and the kick by Zendejas to win it for Washington. Good snap, good placement. It is good, and it's 2017 Washington with 4 seconds left, and apparently their 11th win of the year, and they've clinched a playoff spot and a home field for their wild card game, and the fire burns in Stallings' eyes. He had him ready, Joe.
He definitely had him ready, and we can loom back to the Freddie Joe Nunn possible interception, but there you see a perfect spot. He hooked it from a little bit further back. That one's dead down the middle. Little Max, nice hold by Jay, and just puts it right up. And he knew it right away. As soon as he kicked it, it was good.
He had missed from 34 yards. That was a redeemer. And now the Redskins are into the playoffs with a record of 11-2, and more than that. They can relax now and let the Giants battle the 49ers tomorrow night, and that's not going to be a walk in the park.
It certainly is not. They can look ahead. They realize they're into the playoffs, which is the primary objective of Joe Gibbs when he gets into his preseason meetings. We want to make it to the playoffs. Now they'll start to prepare for the latter part 3 games.
And you know the way the Bears are playing, and we look at this picture now, 11-2 Washington, that hurts Dallas even further. The way the Bears are playing or not playing, as we look at next Sunday's schedule, it could be that Chicago's not going to have that home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
I think whoever gets the NFC home field advantage is definitely going to have a big advantage going into the playoffs and could well ride it all the way to Pasadena.
The Bears, by the way, are still tied in their effort against Pittsburgh, and so that score will be important to Washington, and they have clinched a wild card berth and a home field for the wild card game if they are in it.
See, Joe Gibbs also said you don't really worry about the Redskins getting ready for Denver or the Giants because you know they're going to play good football and get ready for that one. This was a very pivotal game for him, because how do you get your team up for a 3-9 ball club?
Zendejas está muy alegre.
Okay.
He's a happy man.
He's a happy man, huh?
20-17 Washington, and the squib kick. It will not start the clock until the ball is touched, and now we have no time remaining, and the game is still alive, and here comes Mitchell, and there's a lateral. Look what's happening here, but it's going to be another lateral and yet another. Now the other side of the field is covered. It looks like a rugby game. And the game's over, folks. It's over, and the Redskins win it 2017. Joe Gibbs, who used to coach here, a happy man. And Gene Stallings gives him a little touch of the hat. For Joe Theismann, Jack Buck saying so long from Busch Stadium. Final score, 2017 Washington. Coming up next, the Eagles take on the Raiders here on CBS. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station.